Chapter 2139. Xiangu, Jalobadian, and the other saints also felt it, but they were in danger and couldn't stop it. Moon Saint was severely injured and couldn't fight anymore. Rumble! However, the Moon Saint continued to grit his teeth. Starlight shrouded him and rivers of stars appeared. It was as if there were stars falling from the sky, blocking the 5 demon emperors' original bodies and souls. Rumble, little girl, you're just an arrow at the end of its flight, the great demon's voice echoed. He was fighting with Beluan Bingchen, and there was a monstrous demon chi that isolated the river of stars. I can't delay any longer. Fire lightning, help me. Du Xiaofu roared in his heart. No matter what, he couldn't allow the 5 devil emperors to recover. Using the Yuan spirit of the crimson demonic horse monkey, he controlled 2 violet lightning Shen cauldrons to block Mo Sha's 2 violet lightning Shen cauldrons. Du Xiaofu tapped his foot in the air, and his body turned into a streak of golden light. The golden wings of a great rock flapped behind him as he lunged towards the 5 devil emperors, wanting to stop them from recovering. Swish, however, at this moment, the void in front of Du Xiaofu suddenly fluctuated. A terrifying aura swept out and a mighty pressure descended. Little bastard, no one can save you this time. A cold sneer fell into Du Xiaofu's ears. Qin Yanlong appeared and his eyes were filled with killing intent. He had waited for so long and finally, this was the perfect opportunity. At this moment, no one would be able to help this brat. In Qin Yanlong's heart, Du Xiaofu was nothing to worry about. After failing to break through to the Saint Realm, the chances of him breaking through in the future were slim. However, Qin Yanlong still didn't want anything bad to happen. It was said that this kid's heart had been dug out, but he was still alive and even reached a level that Qin Yanlong was afraid of. Therefore, no matter what, he couldn't give this kid any chance this time. Boom! Qin Yanlong attacked and the surrounding heaven and earth trembled. A mighty wave swept out as if it was going to explode the surrounding void. This time, he wasn't suppressed at all. This was his true strength as a saint martial artist. Little bastard, you won't be able to escape this time. Qin Yanlong's killing intent soared to the heavens as he struck out with his palm. The palm imprint had resplendent runes that illuminated the vast space. It was suffused with a vast aura that seemed to be able to suppress everything as it slammed towards Du Xiaofu. Xiaofu, be careful. Jalobadian, Dongli Qingqing, Jialo Juayu, and many other experts who were in the midst of battle were shocked once again. Qin Yanlong had suddenly made a move. At this moment, no one was able to help. Just now, Beluan Bingchen had helped him resist the great demon. This time, no one would be able to help him. It was also at this moment that Du Xiaofu's figure was forced to stop. In the depths of his eyes that were surging with golden light, a wisp of scarlet-blue electric arc rippled out. In the time it took for a spark to fly off a flint, he shook his arm and directly punched out. In the blink of an eye, a tyrannical aura shot out from Du Xiaofu's body into the depths of the void. Bang! Bang! When the fist and the palm collided, a low muffled explosion was heard at the same time. A large area of the void collapsed, and a wave of energy swept out. In the surrounding void, pitch-black cracks appeared one after another. Qin Yanlong's body was directly shaken. Like a kite with a broken string, he was sent flying far away before he managed to stabilize himself in the void. Puff! The soles of his feet stomped on the air, and the void around him trembled violently. Qin Yanlong completely stabilized his body. In an instant, his expression was replaced by shock and astonishment. A wisp of dark red blood spurted out from the corner of his mouth. Impossible! This is impossible! Qin Yanlong's expression was almost dull. His face was deathly pale, and he stared at Du Xiaofu as if he had seen a ghost. His palm was numb, and there was a burst of pain. The qi and blood in his body were surging, and he couldn't help but spit out blood. Qin Yanlong couldn't believe it. How could this kid have such strength? He had just attacked with the strength of a true Saint Martial Realm expert. Everyone was also stunned. They looked at each other in disbelief. Qin Yanlong, a Saint Martial Realm expert, was actually sent flying by Du Xiaofu with one move. What on earth had happened? Du Xiaofu was in the air, and his figure was still. He looked at Qin Yanlong, who had been sent flying. There was a look of surprise in his eyes, as if he was also shocked by his own strength. Rumble, Qin Yanlong couldn't believe the facts in front of him. As he wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth, his eyes were frighteningly cold. He pointed at the air and jumped up again. The strength of a Saint Martial Realm expert was released without reservation. In the void around him, the shadow of stars appeared, ferocious beasts roared, and ferocious birds spread their wings. This was a kind of general momentum, the momentum of legalism. It was unparalleled and oppressive. Such a general momentum in the sky contained a huge amount of energy, and it shook the void, creating circles of pitch-black energy ripples and cracks. It was as if a part of the world was collapsing. The eyes of many people present trembled. Xiang Wushuang, Purple Lotus Fairy, Hongyue, Ninefold Spirit, Henglun, and the others were all frightened. All of them were well aware of Du Xiaofu's strength. However, Qin Yanlong had used all his strength. Was Du Xiaofu really able to compete with him? Or was it just an unforeseen event? Was it some kind of accident? Under the gaze of many people, the vast momentum collapsed in front of Du Xiaofu in an instant. Terrifying energy descended from above. If it were an ordinary cultivator of the undying and imperishable realm, they would have been crushed to death. The terrifying general momentum and the vision in the sky expanded in Du Xiaofu's eyes. Du Xiaofu's green spirit armor and golden rock wings could already feel the vast pressure. An invisible general momentum enveloped Du Xiaofu like a heavenly net, and he felt that he couldn't dodge it. He felt that he couldn't escape even if he flapped his wings. The early stage of the Saint Martial Realm. If it was back then, I could have crushed you with my little finger. Such a voice resounded in Du Xiaofu's mind. It was the voice of Hua Lei, old and domineering. At the same time, a scorching red and blue electric arc expanded in Du Xiaofu's body. In an instant, Du Xiaofu felt a feeling he had never felt before. This feeling was as if he had suddenly flown from the ground to the clouds and could overlook everything. Kid, make your move. Although I haven't fully recovered, it's enough to deal with this little early-stage Saint Martial Realm expert. It'll be good for you to use my power. However, let's end this quickly. Your body can't withstand my power for long, and it won't do you any good to force it. Hua Lei's voice resounded in Du Xiaofu's mind. An enormous power also surged in Du Xiaofu's body, causing red and blue electric arc to surge in the depths of his eyes. The space trembled. Under everyone's gazes, Qin Yanlong brought along the collapse of the general momentum and enveloped Du Xiaofu. The terrifying aura swept out, capable of crushing everything. Just when many people felt that Du Xiaofu was doomed, an incomparably domineering aura suddenly burst out with Du Xiaofu as the center. Gee! The golden rock wings on Du Xiaofu's back flapped, and golden light shone brightly. The golden runes condensed into a pair of golden rock wings that were thousands of feet long as they flapped through the air. With this wave of his hand, a strand of dazzling golden light surged explosively. Everywhere it passed, the space in the surroundings that collapsed and pressed down towards Du Xiaofu suddenly froze. Then, under the stunned gazes of many people, a series of shattering sounds rang out, and the surrounding space shattered inch by inch. Qi-la, a large area of space shattered, and the phenomenon shattered. Qi-la, drifting like a god and as fast as lightning, Du Xiaofu's figure appeared in front of the stunned Qin Yanlong. He directly slapped out with one hand, and a dazzling golden light, like a golden-winged rock, shot out. Qin Yanlong's eyes trembled, and he raised his hand in panic to block with all his strength. Qi-la-la. The moment the two collided, Qin Yanlong's body was sent flying like a bird with broken wings. The space behind him shattered inch by inch, and he spat out blood. Such a scene caused everyone to be dumbfounded. Looking at Qin Yanlong, who was sent flying, and even Jialo Batian and Xian Gu, who were in imminent danger, Taoist Qing Feng and the others could not recover from their shock. Jialo Batian and the other Saint Realm cultivators were even more shocked. Even Xian Gu and Jialo Batian did not dare to think that they could injure Qin Yanlong so severely in one or two moves. Rumble. Above the void, with Qin Yanlong's short intervention, 5 clusters of demonic clouds shrouded the void, like clouds hanging from the sky, covering everything. This vast void was trembling, and there were faint flashes of lightning. The aura was extremely terrifying. Voila! There was rich energy of heaven and earth all around, madly gathering toward the 5 areas where the demonic clouds were dense, like 4 tornadoes connecting heaven and earth. This is not good. Hua Leizi's voice rang in Du Xiaofu's mind. Du Xiaofu looked at the 5 clusters of demonic clouds, like 5 tornadoes connecting heaven and earth. Those were the 5 demon emperors and primordial spirits that had already merged, but in the end, they could not stop it. Qin Yanlong, what are you doing? Long Qianchao's figure appeared in the void not far from Du Xiaofu. He looked at Qin Yanlong, who had been sent flying, and then at Du Xiaofu, with a puzzled expression and a strong chill in his eyes. Then, Su Sanyan from the School of Vertical and Horizontal, Shiyu from the Heavenly Serpent Clan, and 3 famous saints from the Demon Vulture Clan and the Fiery Demon Lion Clan appeared together. A total of 6 Sage Realm powerhouses immediately surrounded Du Xiaofu. 6 chilling auras were exuding from them. Be careful of that brat, there is a force in his body that does not belong to him. It is very strong. Qin Yanlong walked over, his hair was disheveled, and he looked embarrassed. There was blood at the corner of his mouth, and his eyes were fixed on Du Xiaofu, gloomy and ugly. Qin Yanlong was no fool. Judging from Du Xiaofu's strength after their 2 exchanges, he could already tell that the frightening power within that brat's body definitely did not belong to him. However, that force was too strong, so strong that he did not dare to act rashly. What? Hearing this, Qin Yanlong, Shiyu, and Su Sanyan's eyes flashed coldly. In fact, they had also seen that the brat had shocked them again and again. They did not expect that in the end, he still had such a terrifying trump card, and there was a terrifying force in his body that did not belong to him. Chapter 2140. Hua Leizi, is there any way to stop them? Du Xiaofu asked Hua Leizi as his gaze fell on the 5 terrifying demon chi tornadoes. There is no other way. The 5 demon emperors have begun to merge. We can stop them for a while, but we can't stop them forever unless we have the strength to kill them completely. But even I couldn't do it at my peak. Hua Leizi's voice was also very serious. We can't stop them after all. Du Xiaofu sighed. Deep in his eyes, scarlet-blue electric arcs fluctuated. It looked extremely mysterious. The 5 demon emperors were not stopped in the end. They had begun to merge. This was already the general trend. The devil religion already had 4 demon emperors. Now that 5 more demon emperors had awakened, their strength would increase greatly. It would be a catastrophe for the world. Boom! 6 auras that could distort the void fluctuated. Long Qianchao, Shiyu, Su Sanyan, and the other Saint Realm cultivators surrounded him. There was also Qin Yunlong, who had arrived once again. His eyes flickered with a cold light as he stared intently at Du Xiaofu, as if he wanted to pry into something. Since there is no other way to stop them, I can only deal with you old fogies first. Du Xiaofu looked at Su Sanyan, Long Qianchao, Qin Yunlong, Shiyu, and the others. His gaze slowly swept across them. He slowly clenched his fists, and the aura on his body rose. The power in this kid's body is very strong, but it doesn't belong to him. He won't be able to hold on for long. Qin Yanlong said in a gloomy voice. He had been cultivating for so long and could see that the boy had not yet stepped into the holy martial arts realm. However, the mysterious external force was too strong. The stronger the force, the harder it was for the boy's body to bear. Let's end this quickly. There seemed to be a dragon shadow flickering within Long Qianchao's eyes. He was also very surprised when he sensed the seemingly calm yet surging aura within Du Xiaofu's body. However, the more this was the case, the more determined he was to not let that brat off. In the corner of the crowd, Du Xiaojing stood alone. She looked at her brother who was surrounded by 6 Saint Realm cultivators. Her black hair fell to her waist, and her dress was slightly open. There were fluctuations in her clear starry eyes. She was like a suppressed volcano that could erupt at any time. For no reason, there was a natural momentum, and she revealed an arrogant and independent temperament. Du Xiaojing's slender fists were slightly clenched. She seemed to be calm and gentle, but there was a fierce and domineering coldness. Master Hualei, are you confident in dealing with 7? Du Xiaofu asked Master Hualei in his mind. You should ask yourself. You're the one fighting, not me. I'm just lending my power to you. Hualei Zi said to Du Xiaofu. His voice continued, moreover, you don't have to deal with 7. There's an old guy coming here who can help you. Is that so? Hearing this, Du Xiaofu was slightly happy. He finally heard good news. The old guy that Hualei Zi mentioned was definitely not simple. Since it's come to this, let's fight. Du Xiaofu took a deep breath. The acupuncture points and meridians in his body were completely opened. He allowed Hualei Zi's surging power to travel through his body. This kind of power was too strong. An ordinary immortal realm cultivator would not be able to withstand 20 to 30% of it. When Hualei Zi's surging power completely spread through Du Xiaofu's body, it finally entered Du Xiaofu's body. At this moment, deep in Du Xiaofu's eyes, golden light and crimson blue flame arcs lingered and merged into one. The azure spirit armor on his body and the golden rock wings on his back were also covered with a layer of indistinct crimson blue flame arcs. His aura also changed, becoming more and more mysterious. Old bastards, you really won't give up until you kill me. Du Xiaofu's mysterious eyes swept across the 7 holy martial realm experts, who were led by Qin Yanlong, Long Qianchao, and Su Sanyan. His indifferent voice was like a muffled thunder that reverberated in the void. He said, so what if you're in the holy martial realm? Today, I'd like to see if you have the ability to take my life. These old geezers were really unwilling to let him off. They intended to push him to the brink of death, and they even didn't hesitate to lend a hand to those demon emperors. This infuriated Du Xiaofu, and killing intent surged in his eyes. Hearing Du Xiaofu's words, Long Qianchao, Su Sanyan, and the others' faces were gloomy. They could feel the terrifying aura rising from Du Xiaofu's body. Boom, boom, boom. At the same time, Su Sanyan, Long Qianchao, and the severely injured Qin Yanlong looked at each other. Then, a fierce aura burst out from their bodies. The auras of the 7 holy martial realm experts were not hidden at all. They spread out like a storm, shaking the void. The 7 holy martial realm experts stepped into the air and surrounded Du Xiaofu in the air. Their killing intent was overflowing. Boy, I've really underestimated you. I didn't expect you to have such an extraordinary power in your body. No wonder you're so fearless. However, this power doesn't belong to you. How long can you keep it? Long Qianchao's eyes flashed. With his experience and years of cultivation, he immediately understood what Qin Yanlong was trying to say. You'll know when you try. Du Xiaofu replied. The golden rock wings on his back spread out. In the golden light, there were red and blue flaming electric arcs fluctuating in the void. It was as if lightning was shuttling back and forth. Its aura was astonishing. There's no point in saying more. Let's end this quickly. Once this boy has completely integrated with that power, it'll be even more troublesome, Su Sanyan said. His eyes flashed with a fiery light. The boy still had such a powerful force in his body that he had yet to truly control. Although he did not know what kind of power it was, if he could obtain that power in the end and have the opportunity to refine it, it would definitely be a great opportunity. In this world where he was imprisoned, he would be able to advance further. At least in the future, he would be able to surpass Long Qianchao, Qin Yanlong and the others by a large margin. Long Qianchao, Shi Yu and the others secretly looked at each other. Although they wanted to end the battle quickly, they also guessed that the powerful force in Du Xiaofu's body would be difficult to control. However, none of them wanted to be the first to attack. After all, the severely injured Qin Yanlong's face was right in front of them. No one wanted to be the first to attack. Under such circumstances, the one who took the lead would definitely be at a disadvantage. Old man, why don't you go first? Du Xiaofu stared at Su Sanyan. With a shake of his hand, golden light and crimson blue electric flames burst out from his hands. His feet tapped the void, and at the same time, the golden wings on his back flapped. His body had already turned into a flash of golden lightning and instantly rushed toward Su Sanyan. Du Xiaofu saw the 7 people's concerns, but he did not have the time to waste with them. The Fire Thunderseed's power could not be sustained for long. He had to act as soon as possible. Humph, you're just relying on external forces. You overconfident little bastard, how long can you be so fierce? Su Sanyan shouted angrily. Du Xiaofu actually chose to attack him first. Was he picking a soft persimmon? Did he think that he was the weakest among the 7? Su Sanyan's face was gloomy. He waved his hand and formed a handprint. From the void around him, blazing flames surged out in an instant. The burning void distorted and turned into a huge ferocious fire tiger head. The beast roared like thunder and opened its ferocious mouth in the void to swallow Du Xiaofu. So what if it's external forces? It's enough as long as I can kill you, old man. Although Du Xiaofu's eyes were cold, he rushed forward and raised his rock's chaos-shattering claw. A crimson-blue electric flame burst out from the golden light, tearing the void apart and tearing the ferocious fire tiger head into pieces. He clenched his claw into a fist, and golden light burst out. His overbearing fist smashed down, shattering the void. The roar of a dragon and the cry of an elephant could be heard all the way. Su Sanyan's eyes were filled with shock. He had already felt the strength of the mysterious power in Du Xiaofu's body from Qin Yunlong. Now that he felt it personally, he was even more shocked. That power was actually so strong. His eyes were filled with shock and coldness. Su Sanyan's hands instantly formed a handprint. As the handprint was formed, the surrounding space was filled with blazing flames. A bright flame strangely appeared on his fingertips, and a handprint was shot out in an instant. Do it! In an instant, Long Qianchao, Shiyu, and the severely injured Qin Yunlong moved together. Their auras surged violently, shaking the void. 6 merciless and terrifying attacks with undisguised killing intent surrounded Du Xiaofu. Not good. Purple Lotus Fairy, Hong Yue, and the others in the distant sky seemed to have felt the 6 terrifying attacks in the void. However, they could do nothing about it. They knew that they were not strong enough to participate in the battle. Too shameless. It's fine if it's just one of you, but there are so many old fellows bullying the weak. I can't stand it anymore. An old man appeared in the void, and an invisible pressure quietly filled the sky. This old man was not tall, but he had a face full of vicissitudes. The wrinkles on his face seemed to flow with the long river of time. His deep eyes rippled with electric arcs, and a vast force swept across the void, directly blasting towards Long Qianchao and Shiyu. Bullying the weak with numbers? That's not very nice. An invisible and vast aura quietly appeared as a huge wave of energy rushed toward the Saint Realm cultivators of the famed Saint Realm and the Demon Vulture clan. Du Xiaofu's fist collided with Su Sanyan's. Above the roar of the dragon and the trumpet of the elephant, an overbearing force rushed into the sky and sent Su Sanyan flying. The rock's golden wings spread behind him and golden light burst out. 36 feathers of the rock swept out like lightning and turned into 36 golden lightning bolts, instantly blocking the remaining saint of the fire-red demon lion clan and Qin Yanlong. Screech! The 36 true rock feathers shone with golden light, and mysterious runes were densely covered. It was as if they had turned into a golden-winged rock, blocking Qin Yunlong and the red fire demon lion clan Saint Realm cultivators. Bang bang! Low muffled sounds continued to spread, and the void was exploding. Mysterious runes intertwined, shining brightly in the sky. Thump, thump. In the shattered void, many people staggered back, and it was extremely chaotic. Chapter 2141. Du Xiaofu hovered in the air, his 36 true rock feathers swirling around him, radiating a dazzling golden light and exuding a domineering aura. After sending Su Sanyan flying and fending off Qin Yanlong and the Fire Demon Lion clan's Sage Realm experts, Du Xiaofu remained standing in the air, fighting 1 against 3. Numerous figures emerged from the shattered space. The 2 experts who had suddenly attacked were both forced back by the force of the collision. However, Long Qianchao, Shiyu, and the others weren't able to gain much of an advantage either. Xiang Changxing, a Sage Realm expert from the Yao Realm. When Du Xiaofu saw the two experts who'd suddenly intervened, his expression was one of surprise. They were none other than Xiang Chongqing and the Sage Realm expert from the Yao Realm. Du Xiaofu hadn't expected them to intervene. Roar! Xiang Wushuang's will to fight soared to the heavens. He moved to assist Du Tingxian, the Nether Demon, Dongfang Qingmu, and the others, who were still trapped. The sacred ancestor has intervened to kill the demons. Violet Lotus Fairy, Rainbow Moon, and the other experts from the Yao Realm flew out to assist the Huang Nation's experts. They charged toward the Devil Religion's experts. In an inconspicuous corner of the crowd, the void began to heat up. A man clad in fiery armor appeared in the air. Next to him was a man in a dark red robe, his head covered by a hood. He raised his head slightly and gazed at the warship in front of him. His dark, icy eyes shone with a piercing light. Boom! They were Yelu Han and Dugafenshin, the fire cloud demon god. They glanced at each other and hesitated for a moment. Then, their auras soared into the sky. They also attacked the Devil Religion, assisting the Huang Nation's experts. Roar! Roar! A thunderous roar resounded through the air. Far in the distance, 100-meter-long beast covered in golden fur appeared on the battlefield in a flash. Its eyes were as red as cinnabar, and its body was covered in scales. Its claws were like curved hooks, and its teeth were like razor-sharp blades. Its cold light was intimidating, and the smell of blood filled the air. This was Jiangchen's golden growler. Jiangchen seemed to have just arrived. As soon as he saw what was happening, he immediately attacked. Qila, the golden growler waved its claws and tore the void apart. When Jiangchen attacked, terrifying crimson smoke burned through the air as he crushed one of the overlords to pieces. Its golden growler. The appearance of such a golden growler in the sky shocked all the creatures present. Qila, Jiangchen's claws tore another master realm demonic beast to shreds. He was already nearing Du Xiaofu. He glared at Qin Yanlong, Su Sanyan, and the other saints surrounding Du Xiaofu. His voice was extremely cold. "Do you need my help?" he asked savagely. "No need. Help me take care of the desolate nation's disciples." Du Xiaofu hovered in the air. He knew Jiangchen's strength. Perhaps he really could take on a Saint Realm cultivator. At the very least, dealing with the heavily injured Qin Yunlong shouldn't be a problem. But now, Du Xiaofu was more worried about the desolate nation's disciples. "All right." Jiangchen didn't say anything else. Crimson smoke surged, and black fiendish energy roiled as he pounced on the group of demons and demonic beasts. Du Xiaoyao, Little Xingxing, Du Tingxian, Dongli Qingqing, Jialo Jueyu, and the others had originally been surrounded by demons and demonic beasts. Now that Jiangchen, Xiang Wushuang, Violet Lotus Fairy, and Dugafenshin had joined the fray, things were a little easier. However, this ease didn't change much. There were too many demons and demonic beasts. It was difficult to kill them all. Just the enormous consumption of energy was enough to make it difficult for them to hold on for much longer. "Xiang Chongqing, why are you getting involved in this mess? It's not good for your primeval Thunder Elephant clan." Long Qianchao's expression was unsightly as he glared at Xiang Chongqing. "I didn't intend to get involved in this mess, but you're bullying the young with your numbers. That's a little too shameless. Attacking that kid at a time like this is clearly aiding the demons. So, even if I don't want to, I have no choice but to get involved." "Is the Yao Realm going to get involved as well?" The Saint Realm cultivator from the House of Famed stared at the Yao Realm cultivator with an unsightly expression. The Yao Realm was enough to make any of the 9 great clans wary. The Yao Realm and the Desolate Nation have some ties. I don't care who of the same generation can kill him, but if you bully him with numbers, then you're going against the Yao Realm. The Yao Realm cultivator's expression was calm, but the light in his eyes made others tremble. He was definitely a master not to be trifled with. "What are you waiting for? Long Qianchao, Hui Wu, you two block Xiang Chongqing and the others. Shiyu, Yusu, you two come with me. Let's end this quickly and kill that kid." Qin Yanlong shouted at Long Qianchao and the Saint Realm cultivator from the House of Famed. His desire to kill Du Xiaofu had reached its peak, and he vowed to not give up. There was blood at the corner of his mouth, and he wanted Long Qianchao and Hui Wu to block Xiang Chongxing and the Yao Realm cultivator from the Yao Realm. He wanted to join forces with Shi Yu and Yu Su to deal with Du Xiaofu together. Old man, do you still have the strength to jump around? Du Xiaofu stared at Qin Yanlong. The old man was already severely injured. Of all the people here, the first person Du Xiaofu wanted to kill was undoubtedly Qin Yanlong. Don't hold back anymore. Su Sanyan's expression was very gloomy. He looked at Qin Yanlong, the Fire-Red Demon Lion clan's Saint Realm cultivator, and Shi Yu and Yu Su who were about to attack. They exchanged glances secretly. Roar! The dragon roared like thunder. Long Qianchao didn't say anything else. He directly activated his true form, and his dragon claws tore through the void to block Xiang Chongxing. At the same time, a terrifying gust of wind swept out like a storm around Hui Wu, the famous Saint Stage cultivator. Blazing runes intertwined and trapped the Saint Stage cultivator in the demon realm. Kill! At this moment, Shi Yu from the Sky Serpent clan and Yu Su from the Demon Vulture clan were already prepared. Following Long Qianchao and Hui Wu's moves, they pounced on Du Xiaofu like lightning. Boom! As I said, no one can protect you today. Die boy. Qin Yanlong sneered, his killing intent soaring to the sky. Su Sanyan and the Fire-Red Demon Lion clan's Saint Realm cultivators' aura surged out again. Rumble! In an instant, 5 terrifying auras roared in the void, and pitch-black spatial cracks filled the sky. The 5 attacks of the Saint Plane did not hold back and rushed directly toward Du Xiaofu. Come on! Du Xiaofu's eyes were filled with killing intent. The azure spirit armor blazed, and the golden rock wings rippled with scarlet-blue electric flames. He felt the power in his body, and he wasn't afraid of Qin Yanlong and the other 4. He wanted to fight to his heart's content. Rumble! Du Xiaofu pounced. The thunder martial vein in his body was activated, and the Nirvana divine ring above his head shone brightly. Chapter 2142. Kill! Du Xiaofu made his move. The 36 feathers of the rock were activated. The golden light was dazzling, and the rock's shadow struck the sky. The illusionary saber formation was activated. Countless saber lights broke through the sky, mysterious and unpredictable. The purple-gold heavenly fault was summoned. Dragons roared, tigers roared, birds and turtles cried, and sword light filled the sky. With the flamespark seed strength, Du Xiaofu was using his full strength. This kind of power was incomparable to the past. His aura was vast and mighty. Purple-gold lightning and scarlet-blue flame runes submerged half the sky. At this moment, Du Xiaofu's killing intent was intense. It was even more terrifying than Qin Yanlong and the other 4. Du Xiaofu's aura also alarmed the great demon. It seemed to have sensed something. Demonic qi rose from the depths of its eyes. Go all out. Yu Su, Shi Yu, and the Red Fire Demonic Lion clan's Sage Realm experts all activated their true forms at the moment of collision. The huge demon eagle, heavenly snake, and Red Fire Demonic Lion's bodies lit up the sky, illuminating the void. The power of their attacks penetrated the space. Wang! Qin Yanlong and Su Sanyan held sacred weapons in their hands. Blazing light filled the sky, dazzling and resplendent. They tore through the void and collided with Du Xiaofu's 36 true rock feathers and the illusory saber formation. No matter the cost, kill! Qin Yanlong's voice was like thunder. It shook the void. His battered body shone again. He gathered his power and activated his martial meridians. The flowing light suppressed the void. Awoo! Su Sanyan also went all out. He activated his martial meridians and turned them into 9 ferocious fire beasts. Each of them looked ferocious. Their scales were scorching hot. They looked like dragons and were extremely ancient. They emitted a terrifying aura. These 5 Saint Realm experts did not conceal their murderous intent at all. They went all out, and the might of the Saint Realm crushed the vast void. Fight! Du Xiaofu was fearless. The boundless Nirvana aura was like the sound of heaven. The golden wings of the rock were filled with golden light. The surrounding purple lightning poured down, killing in all directions. At this moment, Du Xiaofu seemed to have reached his strongest state. The sword light from the purple-gold heavenly tower in his hand filled the sky. His body carried the domineering will of the golden-winged rock clan, accompanied by the might of the heavens. He fought the 5 saints alone. Such a scene. Everyone couldn't help but gasp. Even Taoist Qing Feng, Jialo Badian, Saint Feng Qi, and other experts who were fighting. At this moment, they had long felt that there was still a terrifying power hidden in Du Xiaofu's body, but they had never thought that the power would be so terrifying. Bam 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 bam. Du Xiaofu was fighting against the 5 Saint Realm cultivators. He was like a paragon, sweeping through all 4 directions. Qin Yanlong, Shiyu, Su Sanyan, and Yusu were all true Saint Realm cultivators. Any one of them had terrifying strength that could destroy mountains and rivers with a wave of their hands. But now, Du Xiaofu was fighting 1 against 5. Come on, what's there to be afraid of in the Saint Realm? Du Xiaofu opened his mouth. His voice was cold and tyrannical. The power of the fire lightning seed surged through his meridians, making him feel like an invincible supreme being. Du Xiaofu felt as if he had become a true Saint Realm cultivator under the power of the fire thunder seed. He was very close to comprehending the power of the Saint Realm. The power of the fire lightning seed was vast and powerful. However, Du Xiaofu felt a sense of familiarity with it. This kind of familiarity and closeness seemed to have a great connection with the thunder martial vein in his body. Is this the Saint Realm? Du Xiaofu muttered to himself as he felt the power of the fire lightning seed. This was a great training for him. Just like the fire lightning seed, it could bring him many benefits. Du Xiaofu would not miss out on such benefits. He was secretly comprehending it, but he did not show any mercy in his attacks. Such a great battle had spread out in all directions. Even Taoist Qing Feng, Saint Feng Qi, and the others did not dare to get involved. He won't be able to hold on for long. Su Sanyan's face was gloomy and ruthless. He was in first place with 5 people, but he still could not take him down. However, Su Sanyan was sure that the kid would not be able to hold on for long. A power that did not belong to him could not be used without limit. Otherwise, why would the kid hide it from the beginning? Shiyu, Yusu, and the others turned into their original forms. Their huge eyes were cold and sinister. They did not hide anything. The stronger Du Xiaofu was, the more they feared him. Such a terrifying power was in the kid's body. If they were to encounter it alone, they would be doomed. Hence, they could not let him go. If the kid did not die, it would bring disaster to their entire clan. Rumble. The attacks continued to collide. The sword light pierced through the air, and the sound was like thunder. The void shattered and recovered. The cycle was endless. A Saint Realm cultivator was invincible. A casual attack was enough to destroy mountains, rivers, and cities. However, at this moment, Du Xiaofu was fighting 1 against 5, shocking all the living beings present. This is too scary. How did the Demon King Du Xiaofu become so strong all of a sudden? Some people could not help but exclaim. They retreated far away to watch the battle. At this moment, they were secretly terrified. Qila. Du Xiaofu's sword slashed at Shiyu's scales. It was blocked by the protective energy and shattered. However, Du Xiaofu's shoulder was scratched by Yusu's sharp claws. Fortunately, the defense of the Azure Spirit armor could be said to be heaven-defying. Coupled with the immortal Xian body, Du Xiaofu was fine. Qin Yanlong and the other Saint Realm cultivators of the Red Fire Demon Lion clan attacked again. They were ruthless and determined to kill Du Xiaofu. Their mighty power swept through, destroying the void and disrupting the space. Du Xiaofu was affected and could not ignore the two. The purple-gold heavenly palace broke through the air and blasted out a domineering fist to resist them. "Little bastard, kill!" Qin Yanlong shouted. His hair was disheveled as he activated his martial veins. Accompanied by the momentum, the void was compressed. The vision was endless, and the killing intent was monstrous. "Old man!" Du Xiaofu shouted. The words, "old man," were shouted in a domineering manner. Suddenly, the sound was like a thunderstorm, exploding in the void and destroying the primordial spirit. "Kill!" Shiyu, Yusu, Su Sanyan, and the others attacked again. They were incomparably crazy. Du Xiaofu resisted, but fighting 1 against 5 was not his own strength. He was already a little tired and was hit several times. Chi La! Su Sanyan attacked. Raging flames filled the sky and turned into a spear. It emitted a bright flame, like the sun in the sky. Du Xiaofu could not dodge all of them. He was entangled by Shi Yu and the others. The rock wings on his back were also restrained by Qin Yanlong and Yu Su. He could only free his left hand and turn it into the rock's chaos-crushing claw to block. Ka. The flaming spear was shattered by Du Xiaofu, but the green spirit armor on Du Xiaofu's palm also began to crack. Pale golden blood flowed out. It was a ghastly sight. That spear was Su Sanyan's all-out attack. Du Xiaofu destroyed it, but he also suffered a backlash. Bang bang. In an instant, Du Xiaofu was once again pushed back by Yu Su, Ji Yu, and the others. Du Xiaofu's green spirit armor began to crack in several places, and blood flowed out. The supreme blood did not disperse. It emitted a golden light around Du Xiaofu's body. It was incomparably eye-catching and frightening. Kid, it's about time. If you persist, it will be harmful to you. Hua Leizi's voice resounded in Du Xiaofu's mind. Chapter 2143. I can still hold on. Hold on for a while longer. Help me with all your strength. I need more training. Du Xiaofu replied to Hua Leizi. There was no way out, and he wanted to kill at least one of them. Moreover, this was a form of training for himself. Quick, this kid can't hold on any longer. Qin Yunlong said happily when he noticed that Du Xiaofu's aura had loosened. Su Sanyan, Shi Yu, Yu Su and the others were in a sorry state. They were also covered in blood. When they heard Qin Yunlong's words, they were overjoyed. That kid couldn't hold on any longer. That kind of external force couldn't hold on for long. Kill! Du Xiaofu was fearless. He took the lead and attacked. The golden wings on his back flapped. He was like a human-shaped rock striking the sky. Golden light shone brightly as he crossed the void. Rumble! The 36 true rock feathers, the lightning martial vein, the boundless nirvana force, the illusionary saber formation, the purple gold heavenly palace, and the azure spirit armor made Du Xiaofu seem invincible. He was incomparably ferocious, causing people to tremble in fear. Qin Yunlong, Su Sanyan and the others were secretly shocked. This was just an external force. That kid was already so terrifying that he could fight against 5 alone. Once this brat truly stepped into the Saint Realm, how terrifying would that be? Kill at all costs. Qin Yunlong, Su Sanyan and the others attacked violently. Their attacks swept across the vast void. The sky darkened as they fought until the void was constantly shattered. Ao, Du Xiaofu roared like a beast. His domineering aura reverberated. He activated the Thunder Profound and the supreme beast energy of the golden winged rock, forming a huge purple gold thunder rock in the sky. This was the most intense and dangerous battle that Du Xiaofu had encountered since he walked out of the Stone City. It was also a battle with the strongest experts. Moreover, it was 1 against 5. 5 Saint Realm cultivators wanted to kill him. This was a bloody battle, a bloody one. Even with the help of Hua Leizi, Du Xiaofu was already covered in wounds and bleeding. 5 Saint Realm experts were not easy to deal with. Of course, under Du Xiaofu's crazy attacks, Su Sanyan, Shi Yu, Yu Su, and the others were not much better off. They were all covered in blood and severely injured. 5 Sage Realm experts, 5 old men who had cultivated for a long time, had besieged 1 Sage Realm expert at this moment. Moreover, the Sage Realm expert had been severely injured. This caused the 5 Sage Realm experts' faces to turn extremely gloomy and ugly. Pucci, Du Xiaofu suffered another attack. The purple gold thunder rock around his body dimmed, and his main body coughed out blood. It was extremely terrifying. Brat, how much longer can you hold on? Qin Yanlong sneered complacently. That brat was becoming more and more unbearable. He was destined to be killed today. Boom. Qin Yanlong was doing his best. He was burning the life force in his body. He was willing to pay any price to get rid of this huge threat. With the 5 of them ganging up on one person, they had enough time to take a breather and gather their killing moves. This was the advantage of bullying with numbers. Old man, if we were fighting one-on-one, you would have turned into ashes by now. Du Xiaofu sneered. He was fearful and even immersed in it. The power of the flaming thunder seed surged in his body, bringing out the power of the sage realm. Du Xiaofu was enlightened and benefited a lot. Boom! Su Sanyan, Shiyu, and the others' attacks swept over again. It was extremely terrifying and spread in all directions. It was enough to crack the void. Du Xiaofu was covered in blood. The azure spirit armor on his body was cracked. At this moment he was still attacked from the back and had no way to retreat. Come on! Du Xiaofu was fearless. He roared to the sky like the real demon king. Using his body as the carrier, he pushed the power of the flaming thunder seed to the extreme. With the infinite nirvana, the supreme beast energy of the golden-winged rock, the thunder martial vein, and the profound of thunder, the huge purple-gold thunder rock around him shone again. It flapped its wings and soared into the sky. Its battle intent was overbearing and fierce, resisting the attacks of the 5 sage realm experts. However, Du Xiaofu had been using external forces. His body had been forcibly withstanding the vast power of the flaming thunder seed. This was a huge disadvantage. He could make up for it temporarily with his defense and speed, but in the long run, it was difficult to hold on. Although Du Xiaofu's eyes were red, he still suffered a few more heavy blows. The purple-gold thunder rock dimmed and was pushed back. Xiang Chongxing and the other sage realm experts of the demon realm were entangled by Long Qianchao and Hui Wu. They could not help. It was already not easy for them to help. It was difficult for them to risk their lives like Jialo Badian. Du Xiaofu vomited blood again. It was getting harder and harder for him to hold on. Qin Yanlong, Su Sanyan, Shiyu and the others sneered. Their terrifying auras spread out and cooperated with each other to imprison Du Xiaofu. They were going to use their killing move again. The 5 of them surrounded and imprisoned the void. Du Xiaofu's speed was also affected. The terrifying crushing force caused Du Xiaofu's azure spirit armor to continuously bleed out of his physical body. Du Xiaofu had the immortal Xian body. At this moment, the cracks on his body were being suppressed and could not heal. Attack with all your might. Kill this little bastard. Qin Yanlong sneered. He cooperated with Su Sanyan and the others to form a siege. They attacked Du Xiaofu from all directions. Du Xiaofu had fought to the limit. He was fighting 1 against 5, but at this moment, it was difficult for him to hold on. The golden blood emitted a mournful light. The purple-gold thunder rock dimmed. Du Xiaofu's figure staggered back. This old man has finally arrived. Why is he so slow? At this moment, Hua Leizi's voice spread in Du Xiaofu's mind. He is not someone you can touch. Hua Leizi's voice resounded in the vast void. His voice was long and full of vicissitudes. Boom, boom. At the same time, a vast wave of energy came from nowhere and quietly covered the void. The mysterious runes of the green light bloomed and shone in all directions. It was as if a world was opening. It's the Divine Ancestor. The Divine Ancestor is here. Divine Ancestor. When this aura arrived, Dongli Ruoshu and the 2 elders of the Fangji clan who were fighting a bloody battle were surprised. The mysterious runes of the green light covered the void. It was like a green sun in the sky. It was as if a god had descended. It blocked the attacks of Qin Yanlong, Su Sanyan and the others. The attacks of the 5 saint stage experts were extremely terrifying. However, at this moment, they couldn't be shaken in the slightest in front of the light shield formed by the green light. In front of Du Xiaofu, a figure in a long robe quietly appeared. He was middle-aged and had long green hair. Who else could it be but the divine ancestor of the Fangji clan, the heavenly wood divine tree? The divine ancestor has come out of seclusion. Yes. Dongli Qingqing's hair danced. A mysterious aura rose from her body. When she saw the heavenly wood divine tree, her beautiful eyes rippled. She held the Taiqing demon-subduing bow and shot an arrow through the void. Senior. Seeing the sudden appearance of the heavenly wood divine tree, Du Xiaofu was surprised. The person Hualei had been talking about was the Heavenly Wood Divine Tree. Du Xiaofu was not surprised that Hualei and the Heavenly Wood Divine Tree knew each other. Back then, it was the Heavenly Wood Divine Tree who had asked him to find Hualei. Du Xiaofu felt that the figure of the Heavenly Wood Divine Tree in front of him was full of vicissitudes of life. It was like an ancient god. It seemed that the injuries and exhaustion on its body had almost recovered. "It's good that you're fine." Looking at Du Xiaofu, the Heavenly Wood Divine Tree nodded. Then, it looked at Qin Yanlong, Su Sanyan and the others who were attacking it. Its face gradually darkened. Boom! From the inside of the Heavenly Wood Divine Tree, the void was filled with green runes and mysterious runes. They reflected the void and shone in all directions. In an instant, the surrounding space seemed to be imprisoned. The space suddenly became barren. At this moment, Qin Yanlong, Su Sanyan, Shi Yu and the others' faces changed. They felt that their surroundings were strangely imprisoned. Their vision was blurry, and the vitality in their bodies was strangely flowing away. "Bastard, scram!" A low snort came from the Heavenly Wood Divine Tree. It shook its arm and waved its sleeve. A vast power swept out in all directions. Bang 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 bang. Peef, peef, low muffled sounds rang out. Qin Yanlong, Su Sanyan, Shi Yu and the others all vomited blood and were sent flying. "Who is he?" Everyone looked at the Heavenly Wood Divine Tree in shock. Such a mysterious powerhouse had easily sent Qin Yanlong and the other 4 Sage Realm powerhouses flying. What kind of strength was this? It was too powerful. It seems to be that expert. Back on the Heavenly Yu Mountain, there were experts who had seen the battle and recognized the Heavenly Wood Divine Tree. After sending Qin Yanlong and the others flying, the Heavenly Wood Divine Tree did not have any intention of attacking again. It looked at the 5 demon emperors who were fusing. Its expression was extremely serious as it said in a low voice, "Hualei, do you also want to stay out of this? You should know very well that I can't stop anything. You and I are not the same as before." Hualei's voice came from Du Xiaofu's body. His voice was very soft, and only the Heavenly Wood Divine Tree could hear it. Sigh. The Heavenly Wood Divine Tree sighed. Walala. In the void ahead, 5 huge devil clouds covered the void. Lightning flashed within them, and at this moment, the tornado-like devil clouds finally began to dissipate. As the devil clouds dispersed and the lightning disappeared, 5 figures floated in the air. They were the bodies of the 5 demon emperors. However, at this moment, the aura of the 5 demon emperors was a huge step higher than before. They were filled with frightening demonic energy. The Heavenly Wood Divine Tree said to Du Xiaofu, "It's already impossible to stop them. Quickly go and control the Divine Thunder Cauldron. Don't let it fall into the hands of the devil religion. Those guys have just fused. I will delay them for a while." Du Xiaofu did not hesitate at all. The 5 demon emperors had completely fused. This was a big problem. The purple lightning profound cauldron absolutely could not fall into the hands of the devil religion. In an instant, his figure drifted like a god. The purple lightning rock around Du Xiaofu dissipated, and his figure directly pounced on Moksha. "You're courting death." At this moment, the 5 demon emperors who had just fused stared at Du Xiaofu. They sensed Du Xiaofu's intention and coldly spoke. The 5 figures turned into 5 black streams of light and pounced on Du Xiaofu. Chapter 2144. Stay behind. As his voice fell, the Heavenly Wood Divine Tree flicked its sleeves and a vast expanse of green light shot out. Mysterious runes rapidly appeared in the void and an ancient aura spread out, emitting a terrifying pressure. In an instant, the Heavenly Wood Divine Tree transformed into its true form. An incomparably massive tree towered into the skies, blocking out the sun. Countless branches and leaves pierced through the void like divine vines, carrying with them an ancient and surging pressure as they blocked the 5 demon sovereigns. A great battle erupted. "Old tree, you overestimate yourself." This voice came from the mouth of a demon sovereign. Demonic energy overflowed into the heavens, causing the void to tremble. Demonic clouds filled the skies, tearing apart pitch-black spatial cracks that swept towards the heavenly wood divine tree. The 5 demon sovereigns attacked at the same time. All the surrounding living beings felt their hearts tremble with unease. You've just fused together, so you don't have the capital to be arrogant. The heavenly wood divine tree's roar was like thunder. Boundless vitality swept out from its body, as if it were a resplendent sun. The massive heavenly wood divine tree and the 5 demon sovereigns instantly engaged in a fierce battle. In the void, runes blazed and interweaved. Lightning flashed and thunder roared, piercing into the highest heavens. Such a great battle was incomparably fierce and terrifying, as if it would destroy the world. Du Xiaofu didn't stop at all. He directly threw himself at Moksha. Several demonic beasts and evil spirits roared as they rushed to block Du Xiaofu's path. But with Du Xiaofu borrowing the strength of the Fire Thunder Seed, he completely disregarded those demonic monster beasts and evil spirits. With a flap of his golden rock wings, he suppressed the void. Those demonic monster beasts and evil spirits didn't even have a chance to approach before they were directly crushed to death. Chi. In the next moment, Du Xiaofu slashed out the purple-gold heavenly fault in his hand towards Moksha. The sword light broke through the air, accompanied by flashes of lightning and the rumbling of thunder, causing the void to explode. Moksha was already unable to turn the situation around when dealing with the 2 purple lightning profound cauldrons controlled by Du Xiaofu's scarlet demonic monkey soul. Now that he faced Du Xiaofu's sword, he was unable to dodge at all. A black and golden gauntlet appeared in his hand, covering him like spiritual armor. It produced the sound of wind and thunder as lightning and demonic chi intertwined, grabbing towards the sword light. Puchi. Upon contact, Moksha spat out a mouthful of blood as his body was sent flying. Sparks flew in all directions as the strange golden gauntlet on his hand caved in and cracked, breaking into 2. Moksha's palm was split into 2. Blood spurted out, and his bones were exposed. Amidst the intense pain, he let out a blood-curdling scream. Return. Du Xiaofu did not chase after him. The purple lightning profound cauldrons were the priority. The scarlet demonic monkey soul turned into a bright electric arc and returned to his forehead. It carried the power of the fire lightning seed, causing the soul's power to increase exponentially. It controlled the 2 purple lightning profound cauldrons and completely suppressed Moksha's 2 purple lightning profound cauldrons. Moksha was pushed back far away. The purple lightning profound cauldrons were suppressed, and his expression changed drastically. He used all his strength to try to break the purple lightning profound cauldrons out of Du Xiaofu's suppression. You didn't really control them. They don't belong to you anymore. Du Xiaofu opened his mouth. The golden wings of the great Prng spread out like clouds in the sky, covering the void. Golden light spread out and covered all directions, isolating Moksha's 2 purple lightning profound cauldrons. Chi. In an instant, 2 silver-gold arcs of electricity shot out from Du Xiaofu's forehead. They were accompanied by a scarlet-blue flame. They directly entered Moksha's 2 purple lightning profound cauldrons. Du Xiaofu's 2 primordial spirits entered the purple lightning profound cauldrons and began to destroy Moksha's 2 primordial spirits. The heavenly wood divine tree blocked the 5 demon sovereigns. The battle was the most intense. The 5 demon sovereigns' demonic aura overflowed the heavens. Ghostly cries rang out, and countless ghostly claws appeared along with black runes, tearing apart the void. How terrifying were the 5 demon sovereigns? Their demonic auras were like evil spirits, baring their fangs and brandishing their claws. The pitch-black spatial cracks spread out in the vast void, as if they could grab the void. They swept towards the heavenly wood divine tree, wanting to destroy it. This scene was like the descent of the underworld. It caused the hearts of all living beings to palpitate with fear. Bang! Bang! Wind and thunder didn't stop. The heavenly wood divine tree was like a giant. Its branches and leaves that covered half the void erupted with a blazing green divine light. Countless branches and leaves rushed out, sparkling and translucent. They were able to resist the corrosion of demonic energy, making them incomparably brilliant. As the demonic energy scattered, the heavenly wood divine tree became resplendent. Wrapped in mist, the light it emitted was like a divine light. "Old tree, you are digging your own grave," a demon sovereign loudly shouted. Their auras strangely became increasingly strong, as if they were increasing with each passing second. Their mortal bodies and primordial spirits fused together, constantly climbing towards their strongest state. "You were suppressed in the past, but now you think that no one can suppress you? You cannot change the outcome." The heavenly wood divine tree roared, blocking the 5 demon sovereigns with all its strength. The great battle continued without end. The cries of ghosts and the howls of gods were like the rumbling of thunder. It was as if the vast void was about to be shattered, causing the ancient void to rumble. Su Sanyan, Qin Yanlong, Hui Wu, and the others, who were heavily injured, retreated far away. Their faces were ugly and gloomy as they looked at the huge heavenly wood divine tree and Du Xiaofu, who was displaying his might. Their hearts were unwilling, and their eyes were overflowing with killing intent. However, they didn't dare to rashly approach. In the outside world, Moksha continuously vomited blood. He was isolated outside. He clearly knew that the 2 purple lightning profound cauldrons were being controlled by Du Xiaofu, but there was nothing he could do. In the end, he could only let Du Xiaofu take control of the 4 purple lightning profound cauldrons. Rumble, purple thunderclouds covered the sky. Du Xiaofu completely controlled the 4 purple lightning profound cauldrons. The vast and mighty thunder might was impressive. The 4 purple lightning profound cauldrons circled around his body. Lightning flashed and thunder rumbled. 4 lightning profound cauldrons. Some creatures trembled, and their hearts skipped a beat. In the Buddhist sect, the old monk with cultivation of the Saint Plane looked at Du Xiaofu, who was surrounded by the 4 lightning profound cauldrons. His eyes glowed. "Get lost!" The great demon shouted. Demonic chi surged like pitch-black ink. Strange, mysterious runes floated and turned into a vision. The dark light was deep and bright, and Bailuan Bingchen and the Moon Saint were forced to retreat. "Fire Thunder Seed, why hide in this kid's body? He is going to die today. It's time to settle our accounts." The great devil stared at Du Xiaofu. Du Xiaofu stood there like a dwarf. The eyes of the black shadow were still pitch black, like 2 black holes in the void. The scene of blood flowing and corpses strewn everywhere appeared in his mind. It was incomparably terrifying. Boom! At the same time, the great demon didn't hesitate. He waved his hand, and a dark beam of light swept out. Accompanied by endless howls, it rolled toward Du Xiaofu. "This great demon is coming for me. You be careful." Fire Thunder Seed's voice came from Du Xiaofu's mind. A cluster of bright red and blue lightning appeared in front of Du Xiaofu and turned into a human shape. "Great demon, what can you do to me?" "Ancient." Fire Thunder Seed shouted in a deep voice. Mysterious red and blue flames suddenly appeared around him. It was ancient and desolate. The flames were vast and mighty, and the red and blue lightning formed a stormy sea. It directly swept toward the dark beam of light. Chapter 2145. Crackle. The scarlet-blue electric arc contained a power that could destroy all living things, and it seemed to be accompanied by a faint sound of thunder. It directly shattered the jet-black light beam inch by inch, and the surrounding void was in chaos. It was as if time and space were in disorder. Is that the power in that kid's body? Staring at the flame splitter, Qin Yunlong, Su Sanyan, and the others trembled. It was not difficult for them to recognize that familiar aura. It was the terrifying power that had supported Du Xiaofu to fight against the 5 of them. Du Xiaofu stepped into the air. The 4 purple lightning profound cauldrons revolved around him. Without the support of the flame splitter, their power was greatly reduced. However, the 4 purple lightning profound cauldrons were still extremely terrifying. The power of thunder was enough to make the cultivators of the Saint Realm shudder and their hair stand on end. With Xiang Wushuang, the violet lightning profound cauldron, Rainbow Moon, Jiangchen, and the others helping out, Du Tingxian, the nether demon, Dongli Qingqing, and the others felt the pressure on them lessening. However, they were still struggling. The undying tree and the onyx hell river couldn't stop the horde of evil spirits and devilish beasts. Jalo Badin, Xiangu, and the other experts were still fighting fiercely with the 9 Demon Emperor and the others. They were at a disadvantage. However, Du Xiaofu knew that he could not intervene without the Flamesplitter's power. Rumble. Activating the 4 purple lightning profound cauldrons, Du Xiaofu charged towards the devil sex experts, demonic beasts, and evil spirits, bringing along a vast amount of lightning power. Without hesitation, he charged towards the devil sex experts, demonic beasts, and evil spirits. Bang, bang, bang. Wherever the purple gold profound lightning passed, demonic beasts, evil spirits, and devil religion experts were directly blown to pieces. Rumble, awoo! Awoo! Suddenly, 5 terrifying auras swept towards Du Xiaofu. Qin Yanlong, Su Sanyan, Shiyu, Hui Wu and the others attacked again. Each of them was severely injured, but they did not hold back at all. In an instant, with Du Xiaofu as the center, the surrounding space was vast and mighty. Lightning flashed, thunder rumbled, stars appeared, ferocious beasts roared, ferocious birds appeared, and strange phenomena filled the sky. Seeing that the heavenly wood divine tree and Du Xiaofu's terrifying power had already been entangled by the devil religion, Qin Yanlong, Su Sanyan, and Hui Wu knew that this was their last chance. A bunch of bastards. Although the heavenly wood divine tree and Flames Park were both entangled, the movements in the surroundings couldn't escape their eyes. They were aware of each and every move. The dense branches of the heavenly wood divine tree expanded, and scarlet-blue flames burst out along with electric arcs. Bang 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 bang. The void exploded one after another. Qin Yanlong, Shiyu, Su Senyan, Hui Wu, and the others were sent flying again. Qin Yanlong, Su Sanyan, Shiyu, and the others' bodies cracked, and each of them spat out large mouthfuls of blood. Their bodies were like birds with broken wings as they smashed into the ancient plaza below. Their bodies smashed into the ground, causing dust and debris to fly everywhere. Pif. However, Du Xiaofu was still affected greatly. Although the 5 Saint Realm cultivators were all heavily injured, they still used their full strength to attack 5 Saint Realm cultivators. Moreover, Du Xiaofu was also heavily injured and had consumed a lot of energy. Under this kind of impact, Du Xiaofu had the 4 purple lightning profound cauldrons to protect him, but the blue spirit armor on his body was still cracked. Blood flowed out, and he spat out mouthfuls of blood. The blue spirit armor helmet was shattered, and he looked extremely miserable. Thump thump. The heavenly wood divine tree and Flames Park both protected Du Xiaofu. The 5 demon emperors were getting stronger as they fought, and the great demon's aura didn't decrease, causing the heavenly wood divine tree and Flames Park to retreat. Thunder Martial Vein awakened. Die. You can no longer stop me. The heavenly wood divine tree alone could no longer stop the 5 demon emperors, who were getting stronger as they fought. One of the demon emperors broke free, and his body was wrapped in demon chi. He swooped down, and a demon claw tore through the void, directly grabbing at Du Xiaofu. Du Xiaofu's body was still shaken, and he felt the terrifying attack. His expression changed greatly. This was an attack from a demon emperor. Even if he was at his peak, he might not be able to resist it, let alone now that he was heavily injured and exhausted. It was impossible for him to resist it. The demon claw tore through the void, and demon chi roared as it swept out, forming a vast demon domain. The scene was terrifying. Du Xiaofu's body was enveloped, and the 4 purple lightning profound cauldrons were also affected in the void, as if they were about to be imprisoned. I don't care who you are, but you cannot touch my big brother. Just at this moment, a clear voice rang out, and a graceful figure quietly appeared beside Du Xiaofu, who was forced to retreat. Her clear voice contained a chilling intent, and her hair fluttered in the wind. From her graceful body, purple lightning arcs instantly covered her. On her beautiful face, a pair of clear purple eyes, a terrifying purple lightning radiance shot out. Strange hand seals had already condensed, transforming into a resplendent illusory sword light. When the illusory sword of light appeared, a strange energy curled around it, causing the space around the illusory sword of light to distort in a peculiar manner. Faint spatial ripples surged out. Piff, piff, everything happened as fast as lightning. When this sword light condensed, the graceful woman's hand made a profound arc, and the sword light immediately cut towards the demon claw that tore through the void. Thief, thief. The sword light exploded in the void and instantly cut the demon claw, bursting out a dazzling light. From the point of contact, pitch-black spatial cracks spread out like a spider web. This sword light was too strange and terrifying. A thick and terrifying aura of destruction was suddenly released, and it actually cut the demon claw directly. The surrounding void collapsed inch by inch, and the monstrous demon chi collapsed, making people's hair stand on end. The graceful woman was also forced back, resisting the demon claw, but she did not gain any advantage. She retreated directly to Du Xiaofu's side, leaving behind a trail of purple lightning with a murderous aura in all directions. Xiaojing. Du Xiaofu's eyes fluctuated. The one who had just attacked was his sister, Du Xiaojing. Looking sideways at her brother with disheveled hair, Du Xiaofu secretly took a deep breath to suppress the surging qi and blood in her body. A smile appeared on her charming face, and she opened her red lips slightly, saying, "Brother, I'm fine." It's the Thunder Martial vein again. What a strange sword technique. Above the void, the body of the Devil Emperor froze in the void. In the midst of the terrifying devil qi, a pair of intimidating eyes stared at Du Xiaojing with a look of astonishment. The power of the sword art wasn't that strong, but it made him feel uneasy. Step back, these demon emperors are not easy to deal with. Du Xiaofu looked at the demon emperor, took a deep breath, and forcibly summoned the last of the dark qi in the divine watchtower. He activated the 4 purple lightning profound cauldrons around him, and the golden rock wings on his back spread out, protecting Du Xiaojing behind him. Chapter 2146. Brother, I'll advance and retreat with you. Du Xiaojing smiled and stepped forward. Purple electric arcs wrapped around her, and her 3,000 strands of hair wrapped around the purple electric arcs. She looked like a celestial being who transcended the mortal world. Qin Yanlong, who was lying on the ground, crawled to his feet, covered in blood. He looked at Du Xiaojing, who was advancing and retreating together with Du Xiaofu. His face twitched, and his expression turned ugly. So they're siblings. Let's get rid of them together then. In the void, the demon emperor stared at Du Xiaofu and Du Xiaojing with cold killing intent. His eyes were filled with monstrous demon qi, and his face could no longer be seen. Boom! Suddenly the entire void, which was filled with lightning, thunder, and vast energy, began to tremble. The trembling was very strange. It was not too violent, but it was able to affect the vast void. The trembling even affected the Saint Realm cultivators who were fighting fiercely. The demon emperor who was about to attack Du Xiaofu and Du Xiaojing seemed to have sensed something and immediately looked in the direction of the trembling. Swish, swish. At this moment, all the Saint Realm cultivators looked at the void. The trembling came from the 13 floating ancient altars. Boom, boom. As the void trembled, the 13 ancient altars, which looked like small stars, began to tremble one after another. Then cracking sounds could be heard. Such a commotion caused everyone who was fiercely fighting to come to a tacit understanding and stop. The demon beasts and evil spirits seemed to be affected as well. They stopped attacking Du Tingxian and the others and gathered together, growling and roaring. The group of cruel and merciless evil spirits and demonic beasts stared intently at the sky. However, they were not staring at the 13 altars that had exploded. Instead, they were staring at the demonic chi vortex where the 5 demonic emperors had escaped from. There seemed to be some kind of aura emanating from that vortex, which affected them greatly. Boom, boom, boom. In the blink of an eye, the 13 ancient altars glowed and exploded like bombs. Gravel shot out in all directions like meteorites, creating a deep vacuum in the void. When the 13 ancient altars exploded, Jialo Badian, Moon Saint, Taoist Qing Feng, and even Qin Yanlong, Su Sanyan, Hui Wu, and the others were all covered in blood and on the verge of death. Their eyes trembled, and their expressions turned grave. In the time it took to take a breath, the vacuum above the 13 altars disappeared, and 13 figures could clearly be seen on the altars. The 13 figures were still sitting cross-legged like old monks in meditation. There was no aura fluctuation on their bodies. The 13 huge altars exploded, and the surrounding void collapsed, creating a vacuum. However, the 13 figures, who did not have any aura fluctuations, were safe and sound. Not even a strand of their hair was ruffled. Chi-chi, without any warning, the 13 figures suddenly opened their eyes at the same time. In their eyes, there was a dazzling light. There was a golden light shooting out, there was a raging flame, there was a deep sea, there was a strange phenomenon in the sky, there was also a dragon shadow rising in the eyes, and there was a ferocious beast leaping out. Boom! When the 13 pairs of eyes opened, the 13 figures who had been sitting cross-legged slowly stood up. 13 vast waves of ripples swept through the vast void, shaking the vast space. It was as if the entire heavenly devil battlefield, or even the entire 3 continents and 9 provinces, were shaking. Rumble! 13 vast auras awakened from the 13 figures, and the void around them turned into a vacuum. It was as if the void was collapsing. What a terrifying aura! Du Xiaofu exclaimed in his heart. This aura was too powerful. None of the auras was weaker than the flame splitter and the heavenly wood divine tree. Rumble! Oh, 3! The 13 auras soared into the sky. Around the 13 figures, there were resplendent runes blooming in the void, illuminating the vast void. It was as if there were 13 suns in the sky. In an instant, a galaxy appeared around the 13 figures. Some were covered in raging flames, some were like ancient gods in the sky, some were covered in runes, forming a huge dragon shadow, some were covered in golden light, forming a golden-winged rock, some were covered in 5-colored flames, forming a 5-colored phoenix. 13 terrifying auras swept out, and strange phenomena appeared in the sky, surrounding the 13 figures. It was as if 13 gods had descended. Qin Yanlong, Su Sanyan, Hui Wu, and the others, who were originally extremely solemn, began to tremble. Then, incomparable joy appeared on their faces. Ancestor is still alive. Long Qianchao, Taoist Qing Feng, Saint Feng Qi, and the others trembled. They knew that the ancestors in the eternal tomb were still alive and had not died. Du Xiaofu looked up. The 4 purple lightning profound cauldrons surrounded him, and he took the opportunity to stuff a lot of elixirs and spiritual herbs into his mouth. His expression was incomparably serious as he stared at the void. The 13 auras were too powerful. What made Du Xiaofu even more serious was that in the originally calm demonic chi vortex in the void, there was another aura fluctuating. The fluctuation was too faint, but it made Du Xiaofu's heart tremble for no reason. The 4 purple lightning profound cauldrons also seemed to feel something and began to tremble secretly, emitting the sound of wind and thunder. The 13 figures appeared in the void with strange phenomena. The surrounding void was distorted, and 13 pairs of eyes were as bright as the sun and stars, looking down on all living things. Who are those people? The hearts of those who didn't know what was going on trembled. The 13 figures had just awakened and filled the vast void, as if gods had descended. The entire void seemed to revolve around them, emitting a boundless and ancient aura. It was as if gods had crossed time and space and returned from ancient times. They all seemed to be very strong. Little Xingxing, Du Xiaoyao, and Jiangshan retracted their true forms and stood together with Du Tingxian, Dongli Qingqing, Dongli Ruoshu, and the others. At this moment, little Xingxing, Du Xiaoyao, and the others were all pale and their hair was disheveled. They trembled when they saw the 13 awakened figures, and they could all sense the terrifying power of the 13 auras. Greetings, ancestor. Qin Yanlong, Long Qianchao, Hui Wu, Su Sanyan, and the others stepped forward and respectfully bowed to one of the 13 figures in the void. Greetings, ancestor. Jialo Batian, Feng Qi Saint, Qing Feng Taoist, and the old monk from the Buddhist school all stepped forward and bowed as well. A group of saints, the strongest group of people in the world, was incomparably respectful in front of the 13 figures. As expected, there are still people alive and unharmed. Du Xiaofu's eyes trembled. He finally understood, and his heart trembled. Rumor had it that the 9 great families, the dragons, the phoenixes, and other ancestors from the ancient war were in the eternal tomb. Perhaps none of them had died. Now it seemed that those ancient powerhouses really did exist in the world. They hadn't truly died in the eternal tomb. Suddenly, Du Xiaofu felt his hair stand on end and his blood run cold. The 13 pairs of terrifying eyes on the 13 figures stared closely at him and the 4 purple lightning profound cauldrons. 13 pairs of ancient eyes rippled, as if they wanted to see through him. All the living beings present followed the 13 gazes and fell on Du Xiaofu. Father! Rock Emperor! Little Star, Du Xiaoyao, Du Tingxian, Dongli Qingqing, Nether Demon, and the others immediately came to Du Xiaofu's side. Under the 13 pairs of bright eyes, their expressions were solemn. At this moment, Xin Yanlong, Hui Wu, Su Sanyan, Jialo Badian, Moon Saint, and Qing Feng Taoist remained silent and looked at one of the 13 figures. But all the cultivators present knew that at this moment, Xin Yanlong, Hui Wu, Su Sanyan, and the others were probably transmitting messages to tell him something. Sitting here for thousands of years in solitude, I didn't expect to see an old friend again. What a relief! Among the 13 figures, there was a figure wrapped in golden light. The mysterious runes of the golden light rippled and covered the sky. His aura was domineering and sharp. In his eyes, there seemed to be 2 golden suns rising. He looked at Du Xiaofu with a smile. Then he looked away from Du Xiaofu and looked at the heavenly wood divine tree. He was the first to speak, breaking the short silence. His voice resounded through the sky. But you've sat here for thousands of years, and yet you haven't been able to stop the catastrophe. The heavenly wood divine tree also put away its huge body. Its eyes looked at the demonic chi vortex with incomparable solemnity. Boom! As the heavenly wood divine tree's voice fell, the calm demonic chi vortex suddenly rumbled. The pitch-black demonic chi jumped at the entrance of the cave and spread out. Du Xiaofu couldn't help but feel excited. Chapter 2147. What a terrifying demonic chi! Within the 30,000-meter devil chi vortex, the devil chi that filled the sky caused Du Xiaofu's heart to feel uneasy and cold. The demonic chi became denser and denser, accompanied by ancient, pitch-black talisman runes. It was much denser and more terrifying than the demonic chi of the other demon emperors. It was like the most ancient demonic chi. This demonic chi was pitch-black and deep, and its demonic might was vast and ancient. You can't trap me anymore. When such a voice came from the demonic chi vortex, it was as if someone from the 9 hells had spoken. When the voice echoed in the void, numerous pitch-black talisman runes gushed out from the demonic chi vortex. It was as if countless demon gods had appeared, and a huge demon shadow appeared outside the demonic chi vortex. Whoosh! Following the appearance of this enormous devil figure, the 100,000 feet large demonic chi whirlpool behind it began to strangely dissipate. It did not cause much of a stir, just like the ripples of a lake. The monstrous demonic chi surged into the enormous devil figure in an extremely strange manner. The devilish energy from the devilish vortex surged in, and as the vortex dissipated, it became dimmer and dimmer. However, the huge devilish figure became brighter and brighter. The surrounding devilish figures fluctuated, making it look like a devilish god. Greetings, demon god. When the huge demon shadow appeared, the great demon, 9 demon, 8 demon, and the others were pleasantly surprised and in awe. Then, respectful voices resounded in the vast void. Whoa! The demonic chi was released, and the faint cries of ghosts and gods resounded. Demon god, he is the demon god that was suppressed. All the living beings present suddenly felt their hair stand on end. That demon shadow was actually the demon god from back then. It was an ancient taboo that had created that terrifying calamity in the ancient times. Countless living beings and experts had turned into ashes because of it, and countless almighties had also fallen. Back then, the supreme expert and the dragon god had joined forces, But they didn't know about this demon emperor. They had only suppressed him in the heavenly devil battlefield. It was enough to show how terrifying he was. And now, such a demon god had appeared once again. When such a demonic god appeared, the 13 figures who stood up from the 13 ancient altars turned solemn instantly. Their auras fluctuated as they prepared for battle. The gigantic demonic shadow stood in the air, and the air around it was calm. Only a blurry figure could be seen under the hazy demonic chi. It seemed to be stretching its back and letting out a demonic voice, saying, "It's still more comfortable to be unrestrained." Such a figure was faint and carried an indescribable charm and magnetism. His voice wasn't loud, but it resounded through the vast void. Such a voice reverberated throughout the void. When it landed in the ears of the living beings, it was extremely pleasing, giving them an incomparable sense of intimacy. "The demon god has escaped," Moon Saint and Xian Gu said softly. Their expressions were grave and their voices were trembling. Thunder Marshal Vane, born Sacred Lord. Stretching his back, the demonic shadow's gaze swept across the 13 figures who had experienced the vicissitudes of life and finally landed on Du Xiaofu. He seemed to be moved, but in the end his gaze still landed on Du Xiaofu. There was clearly demonic chi fluctuating around the demonic shadow. A soft, magnetic voice sounded, saying, "So you're the one they chose. Not bad, but it's too late." When the last word was spoken, the voice was no longer gentle. The voice shook the entire vast void, and cracks appeared in the depths of the void. The demonic shadow fluctuated, and ghosts cried and gods howled. Just such a voice alone made Du Xiaofu feel his primordial spirit tremble. It was as if a demonic drum was rumbling in his head, and his mind was trembling. When the last word was spoken, there was a fluctuation within the demonic shadow that suppressed the void, causing the space to tremble. A terrifying wave of demonic chi swept towards Du Xiaofu. Such a wave of demonic chi spread out in all directions in an instant, shrouding the hearts of all living creatures, causing them to be horrified. Such an aura was clearly demonic chi, but it resonated with the heavens, making all living creatures want to kneel down. Such a wave of demonic chi spread towards Du Xiaofu. Before the demonic chi reached him, Du Xiaofu already felt his primordial spirit trembling. The entire space around him had been frozen, and he couldn't move at all. Even the 4 purple lightning profound cauldrons were imperceptibly bound. The Lord of the 3,000 great worlds and the Dragon God aren't here, but this world still won't allow you to run amok. Hua Lezi spoke. At this moment, his body had become no different from a real person. His entire body emitted red and blue lightning arcs, and wisps of red and blue flames rose into the void. In an instant, the entire void was densely covered. The power shook the vast void, and thunder rumbled. The red and blue flame arcs turned into a raging tide, blocking the demonic chi fluctuation in front of Du Xiaofu. "You're far inferior to your master. You're no match for me." The magnetic voice came from the demonic shadow. The wave of demonic chi suddenly gathered into a terrifying vortex, just like the huge demonic chi vortex that had been hanging in the vast void. When the demonic chi vortex appeared out of thin air, all living creatures trembled, and their hair stood on end. All of them were terrified. All living creatures felt a great demonic power sweep out, shaking the heavens and the earth. Rumble. The demonic chi vortex was like a ferocious beast that could devour the heavens. It directly swallowed the red and blue flames. Everyone gasped in disbelief. Some of the Sage Realm cultivators' expressions stiffened. Their chests heaved up and down as they swallowed their saliva. "You've just escaped, and you want to run amok?" If you want to run amok, it seems that the body of a primordial spirit isn't enough. These 2 voices resounded in the void soon after. Boom. As the voices spread, a golden light shone in the void. A domineering aura and a vast aura that could devour the vitality of the void swept out at the same time. The cry of a peng resounded, causing the depths of one's primordial spirit to tremble. A gigantic peng tens of thousands of feet in size flapped its wings and took to the sky. It distorted the void and directly charged at the demonic chi vortex. At the same time, the branches and leaves of the heavenly wood divine tree that filled the sky were like dense chains of light. They emitted wisps of ancient aura that could devour vitality, distort time and space, and cut through the void. Everywhere they passed, time and space were thrown into chaos. It was one of the 13 awakened ancient figures. One of them was fighting against the skywood divine tree. The illusory golden-winged rock and the skywood divine tree's branches stretched out like divine chains, instantly slamming into the maelstrom of devilish energy. Rumble. Visible to the naked eye, huge pitch-black cracks began to appear around the demonic chi vortex. Energy tore through the void. This kind of energy collision was too terrifying. The pitch-black cracks appeared like ravines in the void, as if they were going to tear the void apart. With your help, I can save a lot of effort. Faint laughter resounded in the void. At the same time, a vast demonic chi permeated the void around Du Xiaofu. Buzz buzz. The 4 purple thunder profound cauldrons rumbled. Demonic chi filled the sky above the cauldrons as a terrifying demonic claw stretched out. It was vast and huge, as if it could cover half the void. As the demonic claw swept out, 5 long, pitch-black cracks appeared in the void. They were like 5 pitch-black abysses hanging in the void. The demonic claw tore through the void and descended. Not good. At this moment, Du Xiaofu's primordial spirit trembled. A chill surged from the depths of his primordial spirit, as if he couldn't resist at all. Xiaofu, be careful. As the demonic claw descended, the faces of Jialo Badian and the others turned extremely grave. But at this moment, even people as strong as Jialo Badian and Xian Gu felt powerless against this demonic might. The void froze, and a chill surged from the bottom of their hearts. This wasn't something they could interfere with. At this critical moment, 5 resplendent bolts of energy descended from the depths of space. In the end, they gathered and intertwined, forming a resplendent sword of space. The sword bloomed with ancient runes and cut across the void, slashing at the demonic claw. Chapter 2148. Qi. The sword did not cut through the terrifying demonic claw, but it did crack it. Monstrous demonic qi spread through the air. The demonic claw seemed to be afraid of the sword ray and suddenly retracted. The demonic claw distorted space and imprisoned the 4 purple lightning profound cauldrons. Under Du Xiaofu's full control, the 4 purple lightning profound cauldrons were easily captured by the demonic claw. A terrifying wave of demonic qi was about to surge into Du Xiaofu's primordial spirit through the connection between the purple lightning profound cauldrons. It was silent and powerful enough to destroy everything. However, at this moment, the mysterious incomplete cultivation method in Du Xiaofu's body automatically activated. An ancient aura spread out, causing his primordial spirit to shiver. At the same time, in Du Xiaofu's mind's Naiwen Palace, the 9 revolutions divine thunder lotus exploded. The spiritual root and spiritual thunder in his primordial spirit immediately surged, blocking the aftershock of the demonic qi. Qi. Another terrifying sword ray appeared from the depths of the void and was about to slash at the demonic claw again. You 5 juniors are not enough. From the depths of the void, a lifeless voice seemed to be transmitted into the eternal tomb from the outside world. Rumble. As the sword ray appeared, a monstrous wave of demonic qi rolled along with it. Amidst the flashing lightning and rumbling thunder, a 12-leaf black lotus appeared from the depths of the void. Countless evil spirit phantoms surged out around the gigantic 12-leaf black lotus. Ghosts wailed and gods howled as they blocked the sword ray. Whoosh 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 whoosh. When the sword ray and the 12-leaf black lotus appeared, countless sword rays instantly erupted. They blazed and intertwined with countless ancient runes. Ka 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 ka. It was also at this moment that the great golden-winged rock phantom, the heavenly wood divine tree's leaves, and the crimson-blue flames that filled the void collided. Finally, the huge demonic chi vortex that was tens of thousands of feet long could no longer withstand the huge impact. Dense black cracks continuously spread out in all directions. The entire void shook and swayed unsteadily as if it would collapse at any time. Rumble. Finally, amidst a series of explosions, It was as if heaven and earth were collapsing. All kinds of energy soared to the heavens as lightning flashed and thunder rumbled. The vast void, with the bottomless abyss as the center, crumbled one after another. In the air, the black runes on the 12-leaf black lotus shone brightly. A destructive aura spread out and intensified the destruction of the void. The void in this area was turning upside down, as if the universe was turning upside down. This kind of pressure was too terrifying, shocking the world. Such might made Jialo Badian, Taoist Qing Feng, Saint Feng Qi, and the other Saint Realm cultivators tremble in fear. They protected their descendants and retreated successively. Even a Saint Realm cultivator would not dare to be easily affected by such a mighty force. Rumble, the entire vast expanse of space was completely torn apart, and it was like the heavens and the earth were collapsing. Devilish chi gushed out while ghosts wailed and gods howled without end, and it was terrifying to the extreme. The eternal tomb was sinking, and the entire heavenly devil battlefield was shaking. Huge rocks fell, the ground cracked, and mountains and rivers collapsed. In the vast plaza outside the entrance of the eternal tomb, all living beings gathered, trembling in fear. What happened? In the vast plaza outside the eternal tomb, Qi Yixi's eyes were solemn. Perhaps it has something to do with them. Something major must have happened in the eternal tomb. Huang Ling, spoke with a solemn expression on her beautiful face. The Sanlu Kyushu, the weather was calm and sunny. Rumble. Suddenly, without any warning, above the Sanlu Kyushu realm, tides rose, the earth shook, the mountains moved, and the rivers flowed in reverse. Woo-woo, devilish chi suddenly raged in the depths of the sky. Suddenly, it was as if something in this world had been awakened. Ghosts wailed and gods howled, and the sound was terrifying. Rumble. The earth trembled and let out a low rumble. Dark clouds rolled, and devilish chi filled the sky. It was as if countless ferocious beasts were roaring and howling, about to rush out from the dark underground. In the Sanlu Kyushu realm, countless living beings were affected at the same time. From somewhere in the sky, a terrifying aura seeped into the void, causing all living beings to tremble in fear and unease. The world is about to change. In the desolate country Stone City, behind the Du family's mountain, Elder Lei looked in the direction of the heavenly devil battlefield. Lightning flashed in his eyes, and he frowned slightly. Devilish chi surged in the depths of the sky, and darkness swallowed everything. In the Great Wheel Sect, on a mountain peak, an old woman stood unsteadily, her body trembling. The old woman's aged face was a little haggard. Devilish chi surged in the depths of the sky, and the faint sunlight shone in, revealing a sense of twilight. Child, I'm about to reach the end. The day will come when the oil lamp will dry up. You'll have to rely on yourself for the future, the old woman muttered to herself. In the beast region, the golden-winged rocks. Heaven and earth trembled, and the mountains and rivers swayed. Jalobatian looked in a certain direction in the sky with a solemn expression. He frowned and said, "Is the great calamity coming again? The 9 aristocratic families, the 4 seas, Wutong Mountain, and the others all emitted powerful auras." An old figure appeared in the depths of the sky, looking in the opposite direction of the heavenly devil battlefield. Devilish chi filled the sky there, covering everything. That terrifying aura seemed to hide a peerless demon. At this moment, a certain place in the world seemed to be the end of the world. It was a boundless plain, as vast as the Milky Way. It was no longer cold and quiet, and no longer devoid of all living things. Devilish chi surged here, and countless demonic figures appeared in the sky. Ghosts wailed and gods howled. There was a huge circle in the middle of the plain. The center of the circle was divided into 2, forming the 2 poles of yin and yang. It was faintly discernible, one black and one white. The cycle alternated, as if day and night were alternating. It emitted light, distorting the void, and resisting the surging devilish chi. Within the yin and yang pattern, a palace hovered in the air, like a miracle. 3 figures stood in the void outside the palace with solemn expressions. The one in the middle was a middle-aged man in a plain robe. His temperament was ethereal, and he blended naturally with the surrounding heaven and earth. On the left was a youth who looked to be only 12 or 13 years old. There was no immaturity on his face. Instead, it was filled with vicissitudes and wisdom. His eyes, which were as deep as black holes, seemed to be able to see through space, looking at past and present lives. At this moment they were also solemn. In the void in front of the youth was an old man with disheveled hair and an extremely sloppy appearance. His expression was as solemn as the middle-aged man and the youth. Boom! Not far away in the void, there were two more figures. One of them was graceful, but her body was hazy, and a vast aura distorted the void around her. The last one was a sloppy old man in ragged clothes, with a few strands of grass in his white hair. At this moment, his expression was unprecedentedly solemn. If Du Xiaofu was here, he would also be surprised. Who else could this guy be but Fu Yibai of the Du family? Chapter 2149. Eastern Immortal, Southern Ru, Western Yao, Northern Addict, Middle Tongshan. You juniors have already reached the end of the line. Do you still want to change anything? Hiss. A lifeless voice rang out from within the yin-yang diagram, echoing throughout the world. Bam, bam, bam. Evil energy surged into the sky. Lightning flashed and thunder rumbled. A 12-leaf black lotus appeared in the air, accompanied by the wails of ghosts and the wails of gods. The space around the yin-yang diagram distorted and exploded. An enormous demonic cloud surged out, and an enormous demonic shadow appeared, spanning across the vast plains. Vast demonic energy surged from the shadow, sweeping through the heavens and earth, shaking the heavens. Rumble, the entire world trembled, and the vast expanse of space began to collapse. As the terrifying demonic chi surged, countless enormous phantoms of fiend gods appeared. Profound demonic energy and talismans bloomed, engulfing the world in darkness. It was as if the 9 hells were opening. Crack, 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 crack. The vast plains cracked as the yin-yang diagram shattered. The space around the yin-yang diagram crumbled, and the 12-leaf black lotus spun in the air. Rumble. In the shattered space, the earth quaked and the mountains swayed. A vast world emerged from the distorted and exploded space. It was as if a whirlpool was surging in the water and an undercurrent was overflowing. A vast expanse of heaven and earth appeared as if it had broken through the void. However, it was completely natural and very natural. This vast expanse of heaven and earth was boundless, and an ancient, mottled aura filled the air. Kyushu trembled, and billions of creatures trembled. A vast expanse of land, no smaller than a province, appeared in the vast plains. This was the heavenly devil battlefield, mottled and ancient. The seal had completely shattered, and the heavenly devil battlefield had appeared. What's going on? Is the sky falling and the earth splitting? Is the end of the world? Someone save us! In Kyushu, the Beast region, and the Yao realm, billions of creatures were terrified, and thousands of beasts howled and roared. In the depths of the heavenly devil battlefield, Qi Yeshi, Huang Linger, Zixian, Sumushin Yilao, and the others looked up. The Tomb of Eternity had also appeared in the heavenly devil battlefield. Terrifying ancient auras surged into the heavens, powerful figures appeared one after another, and strange sounds rang out. It's the sacred ancestor. It's them. The eternal tomb has been broken. It's the Rock Emperor. The Tomb of Eternity had been shattered, and the disciples who had retreated from the battle were all pleasantly surprised. However, with their cultivation and strength, they did not dare to get close to the aura that permeated the area. The vast expanse of space within the eternal tomb shattered. Demonic chi filled the air, and the vault of heaven appeared. Puchi. At this moment, Du Xiaofu continuously spat out pale golden blood from his mouth. The 4 purple lightning profound cauldrons were forcefully taken away by the devil claw, and their primordial spirit was cut off by the devil chi. Du Xiaofu was greatly affected, and he was powerless to stop it. If it wasn't for the mysterious incomplete cultivation method in his body that was mainly resisting the devil chi that was surging into his mind, the consequences would have been severe. At this moment, Du Xiaofu truly felt that even though he was at the pinnacle of indestructibility and extremely close to the Saint Realm, he was still insignificant in front of the demon god. And that was just a wisp of the demon god's primordial spirit. If the demon god were to revive, he would only be an ant. It was also at this moment that the heavenly devil battlefield saw the light of day once more. Du Xiaofu looked up and saw the mystical floating palace and 5 figures in the air. Among them were Fu Yibai and Crazy Ol. You didn't succeed back then, and you still won't be able to let go of the divine lightning cauldrons as you wish. The white-robed middle-aged man with an ethereal aura spoke. Fu Yibai, Crazy Ol, and the other 4 figures attacked together. The 5 of them instantly formed hand seals, and an ancient aura and runic fluctuations intertwined. 5 energy ribbons condensed and intertwined with each other. Instantly, countless ancient runic sword rays erupted and swept toward the primordial spirit that had grabbed the 4 divine lightning cauldrons. The terrifying 12-leaf black lotus rippled with light again. Black runes surged out with a destructive aura, and wind and thunder rumbled. It was as if the vault of heaven and the universe had been turned upside down. Fu Yibai, Crazy Ol, and the white-robed middle-aged man's terrifying attacks were blocked by the 12-leaf black lotus. Chila. At this moment, the demonic shadow that had grabbed the 4 purple lightning cauldrons fused with the gigantic demonic shadow that stood in the air. Woo-woo, the demonic aura wreaked havoc. Suddenly, something in the world seemed to have been awakened, as if it was summoning all the evil spirits in the world to submit to it. The gigantic demonic shadow stood tall, and its demonic aura overflowed into the sky. It was as if countless ferocious beasts were roaring and were about to rush out from the dark underground. Heaven and earth were covered by a deep darkness that covered the world. This demonic aura was too terrifying, and it made people tremble in fear. Even the 13 ancient experts that had awakened from the eternal tomb, as well as super-existences like Jialo Batian, Xian Gu, and Xiang Changxing were terrified. The entire sky was covered by the demonic aura, and from the depths of the void, there was billowing evil aura. Lightning flashed and thunder rumbled in the sky. Black light overflowed and covered the sky. Woo-woo, countless phantoms of gods and devils surged out from the darkness and appeared in a frenzy. Ghosts wailed and gods howled as demonic aura wreaked havoc in the sky. The fused demonic shadow became more and more profound, and it also became taller and taller. From the gigantic demonic shadow, there was a pair of huge eyes that slowly opened. It was as if there were 2 big holes in the demonic shadow. The pupils in the eyes were dark golden and lifeless. However, the moment the eyes opened, lightning flashed and thunder rumbled in the sky. Dark clouds gathered, and wherever the eyes looked, the void would instantly crack. The surrounding mountains would tremble, rivers would surge, and tides would rise and fall. In the surrounding void, demonic aura surged, and countless evil demonic shadows appeared. They were like peerless devils that had walked out from the depths of hell. Ghosts wailed and gods howled as the overflowing evil aura gathered and swept towards Fu Yibai, Crazy Ol, and the other 4. The evil demonic shadows tore through the void, and a large area of space collapsed inch by inch. Black spatial cracks spread out in all directions. Break! The white-robed middle-aged man, Fu Yibai, Crazy Ol, and the other 4 shouted at the same time. Monstrous light surged out from their bodies, and their hands formed seals that turned into energy beams that surged into the floating palace. Boom! In an instant, the floating palace seemed to have come alive. It erupted with runes that were resplendent and dazzling, and the space suddenly shook. Then, the rather large palace rose up and rotated in the void. From the palace, dazzling light beams swept out in all directions like lightning. Rumble. Such a collision caused the world to tremble and rumble without end. Countless evil demonic phantoms were also collapsing. The runes shattered, and the demonic aura dispersed and swept out in all directions. However, the floating palace was also under the mighty impact of the evil demonic shadows. The runes dimmed and shattered, and it began to crack. Chapter 2150. Boom! Finally, the hovering palace shattered completely and exploded in the void. The void sank and the universe was turned upside down. The surrounding shadows of the fierce devils were completely annihilated in the void. Roar! But at this moment, just as the floating palace was about to explode, a dragon shadow that was only a few hundred feet long appeared. It was shimmering with golden light, and there were ink-black runes on it. In an instant, it directly collided with the huge demonic shadow. The dragon's roar shook the heavens and resounded in the void. It was like the sound of the heavens. Under the dragon's roar, the eyes of Long Qianchao and one of the 13 experts who had awakened after the 13 altars exploded suddenly lit up. Great shock surged in their eyes as their bodies trembled violently. Then, they knelt on one knee on the ground. "That's my father's aura. It's my father's aura." At the front of the crowd, the aura of the dragon shadow caused little Xingxing's eyes to tremble. That aura was too familiar. It was connected to her bloodline. It was the aura of her father that she had never seen before. Rumble! The dragon shadow sank into the huge devil shadow. Monstrous devil qi trembled as it trembled. "Lu Xiaoyu, Long Xian, you tricked me again. Unfortunately, it's all in vain." At the same time, a lifeless voice rang out, causing those who heard it to shudder. The voice was low and deep, as if it came from the depths of the 9 hells. Boundless devil qi gathered in the surroundings. In an instant, a 12-leaf black lotus spun, releasing boundless black light. Countless evil spirits rushed out, wailing and howling as they enveloped Du Xiaofu, destroying everything in their path. Oh no! This sudden scene caused many people's expressions to change abruptly. However, it was too fast. The 12-leaf black lotus was too powerful. 5 people could stop it. Crack! Under such a vast destructive power, endless devil qi shot out. Everything sank into the devil domain. Crackle! Many people even saw with their own eyes that Du Xiaofu's golden rock wings, mysterious armor, and physical body were shattered one after another under the attack of the 12-leaf black lotus. Boundless black light exploded in the sky. The expressions of Fu Yibai, the old crazy man, the white-robed middle-aged man, and the others changed. The 12-leaf black lotus spun, releasing a terrifying aura that could destroy everything. Du Xiaofu felt like an ant, completely powerless to resist. He could clearly feel the great Peng golden wings, the azure spirit armor, and the immortal Xian body on his body cracking under the corrosion of the terrifying demonic aura. Am I going to die? This was the last thought in Du Xiaofu's mind. He was powerless to stop everything. He felt a dark aura, as if he was about to die. Only the mysterious incomplete cultivation method and several kinds of spiritual thunders in his mind were protecting his primordial spirit. Even his master's 3,000 thunder soul seeds were protecting his primordial spirit. But it only lasted for an instant before the devilish qi was unstoppable. Du Xiaofu's soul core sank into oblivion as if it was about to fall into an expanse of boundless darkness. Before he regained his consciousness, Du Xiaofu seemed to have seen a strange divine light. Black and white alternated and rotated in the void. Rock Emperor, Father. Xiaofu, Brother. When Du Xiaofu heard these voices, he was heartbroken. Then he completely lost consciousness. The heavenly devil battlefield opened and appeared. Billions of creatures in the 3 continents, Kyushu, and the other realms were in a state of panic. It's said that the fiend celestial has appeared. The world will turn into a devil domain. All living things will die. What about the major forces? The 9 great families, the dragons, and the phoenixes? Will they stop the fiend celestial? I just wrote 1,000 words. I had to go out for an emergency, so I posted it first. Apologies. I didn't mean to post 1,000 words per chapter. Chapter 2151. It said that many experts from ancient times have walked out of the eternal tomb in the heavenly devil battlefield. The 9 great families, the golden-winged rock clan, the dragons, the phoenixes, etc. All of them have experts from ancient times. Back then, they suppressed a peerless demon god in the eternal tomb. I've heard absolutely reliable news that the devil god has already gathered 9 divine thunder cauldrons. No one can do anything to him anymore. The 9 great families, the Dragon Clan, the Phoenix Clan, the Golden-Winged Pring Clan, and the ancient experts who came out of the Golden Rock Clan are also powerless. The Demon King, Du Xiaofu, deserved to be called the #1 young supreme cultivator. He was invincible in the same cultivation level. He was able to fight against a saint martial artist even though he had just reached the saint martial artist layer. However, in the end, he died in the heavenly devil battlefield. Demon King Du Xiaofu died in the hands of that demon god. This time, there will be no more miracles. The 9 great clans, the dragons and the phoenixes all have experts from ancient times. The Demon King, Du Xiaofu, has been killed instead. This time, the desolate country will no longer be able to stand shoulder to shoulder with the 9 great clans. It will be difficult to surpass and replace those large sects that have been passed down since ancient times. Don't underestimate the desolate nation. It's true that the Demon King, Du Xiaofu, has fallen. However, the desolate nation is still filled with supreme geniuses. Du Xiaoyao, Violet Dragon Emperor, Du Yunlong, the 18 celestial generals, Dai Xingyu, Dongfang Qingmu, Nether Demon, etc. Their group of supreme geniuses will be limitless in the future. That's true. The desolate country still has the golden-winged great rocks, Taoism, School of Agriculture, Confucianism, and other factions that have good relations with them. Their potential is still limitless. The Taoists, the School of Agriculture, and the Confucian school of thought highly of the Demon King Du Xiaofu's potential. Now that the Demon King Du Xiaofu is dead, it is unknown if they will still take care of the desolate country. The only thing the desolate country can rely on now is probably the race of the golden-winged rocks. With the birth of the demon god, will the world really end? If the world turns into a demonic domain, will the 9 great families, the Phoenix Clan, the dragons, and the other great sects really stand by and watch? Or will they be able to escape this calamity and stay out of it? Everyone in Kyushu was in a state of panic and unease as they discussed spiritedly. With the appearance of the heavenly devil battlefield, all sorts of news spread like a storm. In an extremely short amount of time, it had spread through the 3 continents and Kyushu domain. When the end of the world was about to arrive, the loss of the Demon King Du Xiaofu did not cause the greatest shock. Desolate country, Stone City. The fall of the Rock Emperor on the heavenly devil battlefield caused the entire desolate country and Stone City to fall into grief. Stone City, which was already large enough to be one of the largest and most prosperous cities in the 3 continents and Kyushu, was in a state of grief. Heavens, please give us another miracle and revive the Rock Emperor. Originally, some of the elders in Stone City even burned incense and prayed. Their eyes were moist as they prayed for another miracle. These elders were the clearest about what the Rock Emperor had done for Stone City. He had protected Stone City many times, causing a small border city to become famous throughout the 3 continents and Kyushu. Because of this change, the bloodlines of the younger generation of Stone City had undergone earth-shattering changes. All of this was remembered by these elders in their hearts. The disciples of Stone City also remembered it in their hearts. Late at night, within Stone City, the sound of prayers would often be heard. They gathered together and echoed throughout the entire Stone City, adding to the sorrow. Stone City, Imperial Palace. In the main hall, Du Tingxian, Du Xiaoyao, Little Xingxing, Yi Lao, Yi Piaoling, Dongfang Qingmu, Ming Yao, Lian Qingrong, Du Yunlong, the 18 celestial guards, and other core members of the desolate country had gathered. In the huge main hall, the atmosphere was tense. Everyone had a heavy expression and did not say a word. This atmosphere seemed to have frozen the space. The Rock Emperor is not dead. He will return. I will leave for a period of time and enter seclusion to break through to the Saint Realm. Du Xiaoyao said from the seat of honor in the main hall. Her golden eyes were filled with confidence and flashed with golden light. Her natural aura of a ruler made people's hearts tremble. I will also leave for a period of time and wait for my father to return. Little Xingxing said. His face was still young, but his eyes revealed a maturity that did not match his face. After saying that, Du Xiaoyao and little Xingxing got up and left. Sister, where are you going? Uncle Xiaoyao, is my father really not dead? Du Xiaohuang looked at little Xingxing's back and asked little Xingxing and Du Xiaoyao. Little guy, go back to Wutong Mountain and wait for me. Little girl, no one can take away your father's life. Du Xiaoyao and little Xingxing did not turn back. They only left these words, which echoed in the main hall of the palace. In the main hall, Dongfang Qingmu, Ming Yao, Yi Piaoling, Qianguyu, Li Shui, and the other core members of the desolate country's world assembly looked at each other. Their eyes were filled with emotions. There was excitement, joy, doubt, and anticipation. The desolate country will depend on all of you. Du Tingxian got up and looked at everyone in the main hall. After nodding, his expression was calm and there was no change in it. He then left. Legalism. In the huge inner city, some of the talents had already withered away. Among the younger generation, it was difficult for anyone to stand out. Among the younger generation, there were some who stood out, but they were too young, unable to carry the banner of the school of legalism. However, it was exactly because of this that the school of legalism placed great importance on the current prodigies of the younger generation. They protected them much more than before, and the experts of the school would secretly interfere in the various dangerous tempering situations as well. In an ancient stone room, there were talisman engravings. On an ancient stone bed, a middle-aged man sat cross-legged. His face was slightly curved. He must have been handsome when he was young. There was no aura on this middle-aged man, but just sitting cross-legged on the stone bed quietly gave off a kind of aura. Only the stronger one was, the more they would be able to sense this kind of general trend. In the stone room, the divine ancestor of legalism, Qin Tian, stood in front of the middle-aged man. His expression was one of reverence and respect. This is a big pity. If she could be used by legalism, her talent would be of great help to our lineage. You guys have gone too far. However, things have already come to this and everything is in the past. The disaster has been eliminated. All that's left is a natural-born sovereign, which can be nurtured well. The middle-aged man spoke. His figure was as calm as water without any ripples. That little girl's heart doesn't seem to be stable, Qin Yunlong said with a complicated look in his eyes. I'll comfort her personally. The middle-aged man said these 5 words. Hearing this, Qin Yunlong's eyes were filled with astonishment. He was very clear that to them, any outstanding junior was just a reflection of the moon in the water until the final step. Since ancient times, Qin Yunlong had seen all kinds of geniuses among the younger generation of legalism. For example, the recent Qin Wudi. Wasn't he also outstanding in the beginning? However, he also withered in the end. Chapter 2152. Therefore, any junior that could catch his attention was definitely extraordinary. For this man to personally comfort her, it was enough to prove that the little girl had great fortune. There are some extraordinary juniors in the barren country now. In time, they might become a source of trouble, Qin Yanlong continued. Forget it, there's nothing to worry about. If the golden-winged Great Rock clan were to act, that guy is not to be trifled with. The demon god has appeared, and the 9 divine thunder cauldrons have fallen into the hands of the devil religion. No one can stop this. I think those people from the devil religion will not let the barren country go. The middle-aged man said indifferently. Suddenly he paused. His eyes, which had been calm all this time, rippled. He said, strictly speaking, those people from the devil religion will not let the Du family go. They will not let anyone with thunder martial veins go. What happened back then? The Du family's thunder martial veins are not simple. Why didn't they leave their name back then? Qin Yanlong was very curious. Thunder martial veins were not simple. A Du family with such a martial vein had suddenly appeared. During the ancient catastrophe, no one with thunder martial veins had left their name. However, Qin Yanlong was very sure that a Du family with such a thunder martial vein definitely had an extraordinary background. Thunder martial vein. The middle-aged man sighed softly. Then he said, The little girl has awakened the thunder martial vein. We can't make her unhappy. Don't touch the so-called barren country. I need to go into seclusion for a period of time. After that, I will try to contact the main clan. It has been so many years, but the main clan has never contacted us. Can we still contact them? Qin Yanlong's face was filled with worry. He said, if we can't contact the main clan, we may not be able to stay out of trouble. This world was sealed by the dragon god and the others. Even if the main clan wants to contact them, they may not be able to. As the middle-aged man finished speaking, he waved his hand, indicating for Qin Yanlong to leave. School of Inyang. On the mountain peak, the moonlight was like a ribbon. Moon Sage's long dress fluttered in the wind. Under the moonlight, she looked mysterious. Her face was pale, but her body was shrouded in a hazy glow. I can't predict the future, it's a blur. The Moon Saint pinched his fingers. His eyes were like stars, shining with starlight. His expression was serious, and there was a faint trace of blood at the corner of his mouth. I believe that the master of the 3,000 great worlds has his own plans. A weathered figure stood before the Moon Saint and looked at the sky. He said with a drawn-out voice, the catastrophe of the world is about to happen again. I need to train in isolation for a while, and then I will try to contact the main clan. Famous experts. Song Mountain was magnificent, lofty, and majestic. The pavilions and palaces shone brightly. That old tree is still alive. This is a big problem. The awakening of the thunder vein is extremely unusual. I will go into seclusion to recover and contact the main clan as soon as possible. In the blazing ancient cave, an old man spoke. Yes. Su Sanyan left. That mutated dragon has a mysterious origin. The appearance of the lightning martial vein seems to be part of that person's plan. I have to go into seclusion to recover for a while. Someone among the dragons spoke. In the beast region, the golden-winged rocks. I have already searched the entire area and found nothing. If it's not time to die, then it won't. Let's just wait and see, said a domineering old man. His golden eyes were deep. The heavenly devil battlefield had appeared, and the demon god had returned. The tricontinent Kyushu was in an uproar, and everyone was in a state of panic. However, the 9 great families, the dragons, the phoenixes, and the other major forces were all quiet. There was no news, and no disciples appeared. It was as if they had all disappeared. In Shangzhou, Hahuan School. At dusk, the palaces, courtyards, and mountains were dyed golden by the sunset. The clouds were faintly discernible, as if they were suffused with flames. Under the sunset, Su Muxin's hair flowed freely. Her face was enough to captivate all living things. She was so beautiful that it was soul-stirring. However, at the moment, her face was full of worry and her eyes were dim. It seems that you have really fallen in love with him. The voice came from an extremely beautiful woman. However, she looked extremely young. She wore a thin layer of makeup, and the corners of her eyes were filled with spring. It was Tang Meiling. He's the supervisor of the Hahuan School. It's only natural for me to be worried, said Su Muxin. She bit her lip. I didn't say who it was. You're just confessing without being pressed. Tang Meiling smiled. She stood beside Su Muxin and looked at Su Muxin. Her eyes were filled with spring, and it was enough to move the hearts of all men. Then, she frowned and said to Su Muxin, that guy has survived several calamities. This time, he might come out unscathed. Will a miracle really happen? Su Muxin gazed into the distance. Her eyes drooped, and she slowly walked away. Her eyes flashed with unfathomable sadness. In an ancient space, the cliffs were steep and the trees were lush. There were winding rivers in the mountains. The 2 sides of the rivers were connected by mountains. Several old buildings were hidden in the middle. It wasn't a spectacular sight, but it was simple and deep. Master, is he really dead? Think of a way to save him. In the stone room, Ouyang Shuang's peerless face was covered in tears and grief. It's too late. It's all too late. Crazy Ole's hair was disheveled, and his eyes were as deep as the sea. He kept shaking his head, and his face was pale. Master, your cultivation is heaven-defying. You must have a way. Ouyang Shuang kept pleading and shaking Crazy Ol's arm. His primordial spirit has been reduced to ashes. How can he be saved? Even if the Dragon God and the Lord of the 3,000 worlds come, they won't be able to do anything. Crazy Ol said and shook his head. Phoenix Mountain, Wutong Mountain. On the ancient land, the flaming Wutong covered the sky. From afar, it looked like an endless sea of fire. Vast ancient buildings stood in the mountains, and ancient mottled traces were everywhere. I want revenge. I want to cultivate well. I want to kill that demon god to avenge my father. On Du Xiaowang's small head, her eyes were glowing with green flames. Girl, don't be sad. Maybe there will be a miracle. The voice was like a fairy's voice. Zi Xian stood behind Du Xiaohuang. She was wearing a purple dress that outlined her seductive figure. Her eyes were fluctuating, and her red lips were slightly opened. She muttered to herself, "Back then, he came back to life. His life is not something that can be taken away by anyone." The continuous mountain range was dense and steaming. This was a mysterious and secluded place. There were extraordinary spiritual herbs everywhere, and the energy of heaven and earth was amazing. At the top of the mountain, in a quaint courtyard. "Master, is Brother Xiaofu really dead? Do you have a way to save Brother Xiaofu?" Dai Xingyu cried, and her eyebrows were knitted. Her eyes, which were originally filled with smoke, were dim and sorrowful. A girl in green stood behind her. Her clear and bright eyes were glowing with a faint green light. Her long eyelashes were slightly curved, and her white and flawless skin was faintly pink. She stood behind her with a dignified expression. Her eyebrows were tightly knitted, and she did not speak. There is no way to reverse the situation. Those who were killed by that demon god, not to mention their bones and primordial spirits, even if they are left, no one in the world can save them. In front of Dai Xingyu, a beautiful woman in plain clothes was sitting cross-legged. Her plain palace dress was simple and elegant, and she had a natural air of nobility. But at this moment, her face was pale. "No, Brother Xiaofu won't die. Brother Xiaofu is such a good man. God won't let him die." Dai Xingyu wept like a weeping beauty. Ding! Suddenly, the pleasant sound of a guzheng was heard. At first, it was fresh and smooth, and it was full of charm. If one listened carefully, it seemed to have a magical power, and it gradually made people intoxicated. In the vast illusory world, this encounter is unforgettable. When we meet in the early summer, we leave a smile. Since we don't know each other, so what? That rainy day, the guzheng song stretched across the lotus pond. In the sound of the guzheng, the song was gentle and touching. Since we are not fated, why do we need to swear? Today, everything is like water without a trace. In the sound of the lantern, the sky is still cold, and the water is still cold. In the dream, the guzheng sang softly. Outside the building, outside the mountain, the outsider of the building has not returned. Looking back, I have long passed the river of forgetfulness, and the person playing the guzheng is full of tears. What day is Mingxi? You are already strangers, and we are separated. Today is not yesterday, autumn is as old as before, and I am empty and thin. The guzheng song was like the sound of nature. At first, it was charming and moving, then it was gentle and resentful. In the end, it made people mourn for no reason. Even the beautiful woman in plain clothes, Dai Xingyu, and Xiao Qing on the mountain peak were intoxicated. They could not recover for a long time. Ant is playing the guzheng. After a while, Dai Xingyu opened his mouth. There were fluctuations in his eyes. The great calamity of heaven and earth is coming. The world is going to be in chaos. You all should cultivate well. I need to go into seclusion for a while. The beautiful woman came back to her senses and looked at Dai Xingyu. After her voice was recorded, her body that was sitting cross-legged in the void fluctuated and disappeared strangely. In a quiet deep valley, in a quaint courtyard, the surroundings were hazy with clouds and mist. In the pavilion, someone was sitting upright. The guzheng in front of her had already stopped playing. In the hazy mist, looking from afar, one could feel that it was a graceful woman. After a while, the woman stood up. Her delicate body was like a jade willow, light and tender. Her temperament carried an ancient aura. She was so beautiful that she was like a fairy that walked out of a painting. No one knew where this place was. The terrifying aura made people feel desolation and destruction from the depths of their souls. There were faint sounds of ghosts crying and gods howling. The mountains were vast, but the devil chi was drifting. Congratulations, demon god. Congratulations, demon god. In the future, no one in this world can stop us. The voice echoed, and the devil chi was monstrous. In the depths of the huge dark hall, dozens of figures stood respectfully. The 9 demon emperors, the 5 great lightning emissaries, Moksha, Jialo Juelyao, Mo Lingzi, and the others were among them. Inside the hall, devil shadows were engraved. There was no one on the big chair with a back. Instead, there was a black devil chi that was slowly spreading. There was no vitality. Chapter 2153. That kid isn't dead yet. Someone has interfered, but it won't be the same as before. After a slight pause, the indifferent voice continued to be heard from the black demonic aura. Everyone, go into seclusion. The day you recover completely will be the day I achieve my great cause. The voice spread across the barren land. Cracks spread across the land, lakes surged, and tides rose, on the broken land, broken walls and mottled walls. A middle-aged man in plain robes stood with his hands behind his back. His face was pale, but it couldn't hide his ethereal temperament. His eyes were lowered, and his expression was solemn, as if he was thinking about something. That kid is also dead. Is there really no way to reverse the calamity this time? A youth who looked to be only 12 or 13 years old had a solemn expression. There was no immaturity on his pale face, but instead, it was filled with vicissitudes and wisdom. The middle-aged man's eyes were still lowered, as if he had naturally merged with the space of the land. His expression was very calm. Well, if there's really no way to reverse the calamity, the seal of this world has been broken, and we can go back. There are billions of lives here, and we can also do nothing. At most, we can bring some good seedlings with us and leave some seeds for this world. The youth continued to speak. His eyes were as deep as black holes, as if they could see through space and see past and present lives. Everything is not set in stone yet. Suddenly, the middle-aged man raised his head slightly and looked at the sky. There were faint runes flashing in his eyes. Do you think that we can stop the demon god? Or do you think that the 9 great families, the dragons, and the phoenixes can stop the demon god? The youth spoke. How could he not know that even if the 5 of them were at their peak, they wouldn't be able to do anything to the demon god? Back then, the dragon god and the lords of the 3,000 sectors had only sealed the demon god and didn't kill him. It's not a matter of strength to kill the demon god. Otherwise, Du Xiaofu wouldn't have been recognized by the divine thunder cauldron. The fact that the thunder martial vein is in his body proves that this was arranged by the lords of the 3,000 sectors, the middle-aged man said. But that brat is already dead. His corpse and primordial spirit turned into ashes, not leaving behind a single trace. The youth's eyes narrowed. They had already searched carefully. There was nothing in this world that could escape their prying and searching. Even if there was a trace of an undying primordial spirit, it could not escape their prying eyes. Is Du Xiaofu really dead? The middle-aged man's eyes were filled with doubt. You're saying that kid isn't dead? The weathered youth asked in surprise. That kid has several types of spirit lightning on him. Even if that kid is dead, what about those spirit lightning? The middle-aged man asked. It's impossible for the spirit thunder soul seed to be destroyed. It's possible that it has dissipated between heaven and earth. One day, it will reappear in this world, said the weathered youth. Even if the spirit thunder soul seed has dissipated, there will definitely be traces left behind. However, we haven't found any traces. The middle-aged man shook his head and looked at the weathered youth. The fiend celestial was once again injured by the dragon god. I believe that the Lord of the 3,000 sectors must have other plans. After a slight pause, the middle-aged man continued, Moreover, there are many variables in this world. What will happen in the end is still unknown. But the 9 great families, the dragons, the phoenixes, and the others, those people may not necessarily take action. They will most likely stay out of harm's way and seek protection, said the youth. The great calamity has arrived once again. This is the final calm. As for what will happen in the end, it will depend on the will of the heavens. The middle-aged man sighed softly. The aura on his body fluctuated silently, causing the space to tremble quietly. The ancient heaven sect, a boundless mountain range. The mountain peaks stood tall and verdant. Above the mountain peaks, clouds curled up. My disciple, you won't die. You definitely won't die. On the mountain peak, an old man in a green and white robe with an ancient sword on his back was standing. At this moment, half of his fluttering white hair was disheveled. His originally elegant white hair and white beard were stained with tears, saliva, and snot. It was unknown whether it was because of his tears, saliva, or snot, but it made him look like an immortal who had descended to the mortal world. In particular, his 2 front teeth protruded out of his mouth. At this moment, he was crying softly and spitting saliva, which made people look at him in a new light. However, at this moment, everyone could see the grief in the old man's eyes. At this age, he was still crying like a child. It was clear how deep the pain in his heart was. It had been half a month since the heavenly devil battlefield appeared. In the 3 continents, Kyushu, billions of creatures were still immersed in fear and panic. In the empty space, it was dark all around. This place seemed to exist in a crack in space. Only the occasional sound of air currents could be heard. In this dark space, if one looked carefully, one would see a strand of white light flickering in the distance. Black and white alternated, but the cycle would never be extinguished. An invisible and mysterious ancient energy rippled, enveloping a mass of blood-red mist. Hiss! Strangely, golden light flickered in the blood-red mist, and arcs of electricity pulsed. After who knew how long, when Du Xiaofu regained consciousness, he felt pain from the depths of his soul. However, apart from consciousness and pain, he could not sense any light. Du Xiaofu tried his best to open his eyes, but he found that everything was out of his control. This strand of consciousness that he had recovered was too weak. It was like floating duckweed. Du Xiaofu recalled everything. He had suffered a final blow from the demon god. Both his body and soul had collapsed under the impact. He had been unable to block it at all. I don't seem to have died. However, at this moment, this strand of consciousness that he had recovered allowed Du Xiaofu to know that he was not dead. Trying hard to recall, Du Xiaofu remembered that when he was completely powerless, there was a mysterious black and white circle of light that enveloped him. In this silent and dark space, time did not seem to exist. He did not know how much time had passed. The strand of consciousness that Du Xiaofu had recovered was getting stronger and stronger. His soul was also gradually awakening. Du Xiaofu could even feel the power of the spiritual thunder that had fused with his soul. Everything collapsed. I have survived a great disaster. After probing with his soul, Du Xiaofu realized why his vision was pitch black. It turned out that his body had been shattered into pieces long ago. Even his soul had been greatly affected. This kind of influence was fatal to the body and soul of any expert. It was impossible to come out unscathed. However, Du Xiaofu knew that he was not dead. His body had been shattered, and he had the immortal Shen body. This was the perverse part of the immortal Shen body. After probing, Du Xiaofu discovered that the black and white circle of light around his shattered body had a mysterious and ancient aura. It was separated by an arc in the middle. The black and white circles cycled endlessly, like the alternation of day and night. Chapter 2155. Translator. H2-2 Mr. After some thought, Du Xiaofu also knew that he did not have the strength to beat up the people of the 9 great families, not to mention the strongest demon god. The green-robed man looked at Du Xiaofu, the long black hair behind his head moving. He smiled and said, "Are you afraid, or are you afraid of death?" "No, I'm not afraid of death, but I'm afraid that I'm not strong enough to take on big responsibilities," Du Xiaofu said. He had not even been able to break through to the Saint Martial realm, So how could he compete with the 9 great families and the demon god of the devil religion? Everything depends on man, everything depends on man, the rest depends on the will of the heavens. You and I are powerless. The green-robed man looked at Du Xiaofu, smiled and said, everything has its own plan, but in the end, it still depends on you. Now that things have reached this point, I am powerless, I can no longer interfere. What you need to do is to continue to strengthen yourself. You are the last chance. If even you fail, then this world can only truly become a demon domain. The millions of lives in this world will depend on your success or failure. Sigh. The green-robed man looked at Du Xiaofu, waved his illusory sleeve and said, this is the last trace of the power of my primordial spirit left in this world. It will not appear again. The last thing I left for you is some leftover scraps of refining materials. Imitating a treasure in my sister's hands, it has many wonderful uses. Sigh. When his voice fell, the green-robed man's figure slowly disappeared in front of Du Xiaofu. Boom. But at this moment, in front of the mountain, there was a fluctuation of aura, releasing a monstrous light and an ancient aura. A simple long sword appeared in front of Du Xiaofu's eyes. Floating in the air, the monstrous light was like a sun blooming, the sword light overflowing, mysterious runes lingering around, the fierce aura rushed to the sky. Buzz. Sigh. Around the sword, wind and thunder resounded, filling the air with a pressure. The whole mountain was trembling. It's that treasure sword from before. Du Xiaofu's eyes glowed with a golden light as he recognized the origin of this sword. Back then, outside the eternal tomb, the 13 illusory figures each held a simple sword. In the end, they gathered together and attracted all the cultivators of the Saint Realm to chase after them. It was this sword in front of them. What a strange pressure. Du Xiaofu was surprised. The pressure of the aura emanating from the sword was more effective on the primordial spirit. It was enough to make the primordial spirit of a Saint Realm cultivator tremble. That terrifying pressure seemed to be able to shatter the primordial spirit. This treasure is actually here. No one has obtained it yet. Du Xiaofu revealed a look of joy. This treasure sword was definitely not ordinary. Its pressure was too strong, and it was definitely not something an ordinary saint weapon could compare to. Otherwise, the purple gold heavenly tower in his divine watchtower would not be rumbling, as if it wanted to come out of his body, but there was an instinctive fear, as if it was afraid of something. Other than the purple thunder profound cauldron, the purple gold heavenly tower had never shown fear in front of any other weapon. How could Du Xiaofu not guess the value of this treasure sword? Du Xiaofu stared intently at the treasured sword in front of him. This treasured sword was completely white, like a beautiful piece of jade. When he looked directly at it from afar, he felt as if there was a monstrous sword light that wanted to rush into his brain, causing his primordial spirit to tremble in pain. Originally, Du Xiaofu had thought that since so many Sage Realm cultivators had chased after it, someone must have obtained this treasured sword. It turned out that this treasured sword was hidden here, and no one had obtained it. Master recognition. On Du Xiaofu's pale face, the corners of his mouth curled up into a smile. He began to try to recognize this treasure sword as its master. However, Du Xiaofu was worried. Although his physical body had recovered, he had suffered a fatal injury. So, he didn't have any fighting strength at all. It would be difficult for him to forcefully subdue such a treasure that even a sage expert couldn't subdue. Du Xiaofu was worried for nothing. The treasure sword that was suspended in midair let out a roar. Amidst the clanging of wind and thunder, the sword light was dazzling. It turned into a streak of bright flowing light, like lightning, and directly rushed towards the space between Du Xiaofu's eyebrows. The sword light was dazzling, and the pressure was impressive. The wind and thunder were sonorous, and the space was penetrated. However, Du Xiaofu did not feel any killing intent. This sword light seemed to have good intentions as it rushed towards the space between his eyebrows, as if it wanted to enter his body. Come on. This was left behind by the master of the 3,000 sectors. Du Xiaofu gritted his teeth and did not block it. He directly let the sword light enter the space between his eyebrows. Boom. When the sword light entered the body, It expanded in Du Xiaofu's mind like a sun. Countless sword lights spread in his mind and rushed into the mud pill palace. A huge wave of pressure fluctuated, and the sword light intertwined in the mud pill palace. It was dazzling. Master recognition. At this moment, Du Xiaofu's primordial spirit also directly condensed and rushed into the sword light to recognize this quaint treasure sword as its master. Suddenly, as the primordial spirit and the treasure sword were connected, Du Xiaofu's primordial spirit also seemed to appear in a world of sword light. A huge amount of information also rushed into Du Xiaofu's mind. This huge amount of information was everything about this treasure sword, including the method to activate it and its magical effects. At this moment, it was poured into Du Xiaofu's mind. Chapter 2156. Walala. Time passed slowly. Du Xiaofu sat cross-legged on the mountain peak. After the information about the treasured sword faded from his mind, Du Xiaofu's eyes were still tightly closed. A golden light slowly gushed out from his body, forming a golden halo. The mysterious runes on the talisman flickered, and his aura was overbearing as it enveloped his entire body. Du Xiaofu was adjusting his breathing. His injuries were too severe. Du Xiaofu had fought fiercely with Moksha and used the 4 purple lightning profound cauldrons. In the final battle against several Saint Martial Realm experts, although he had borrowed the power of the fire lightning seed, Du Xiaofu was already at his limit. Since he started cultivating, he had fought countless battles. However, this battle in the Eternal Tomb was definitely the most exhausting battle Du Xiaofu had ever experienced. He had been severely injured and exhausted. In the end, Du Xiaofu had almost turned into ashes. Du Xiaofu was recovering, adjusting his breathing. At the same time, starlight seeped out of Du Xiaofu's body. There were fluctuations of green light and flashes of lightning. This was the Yin-Yang School's star profound, the Fang School's profound, and Du Xiaofu's thunder profound from the thunder martial vein. These profound intertwined, emitting brilliant light. From afar, the mountain where Du Xiaofu resided was enveloped by a resplendent light. It was like a rising sun, radiating resplendent light. Du Xiaofu was comprehending the various profound in his body. Last time, he was only half a step away from the Saint Martial Realm, but he didn't succeed in the end. In the battle in the Eternal Tomb, Du Xiaofu was powerless in the end. However, he couldn't deny that he had benefited greatly. Especially with the help of the fire lightning seed, he could truly feel the power of the Saint Martial Realm. The benefits he had gained could only be understood and not described. Du Xiaofu was well aware of the enormous benefits of this technique. So, he wanted to comprehend it as soon as possible so that he could break through to the Sage Realm. The Devil God's primordial spirit and corporeal body had already gathered, and the 9 powerful Devil Emperors had also fused completely. Once they recovered to their true peak, they would begin to sweep through the 3 continents Kyushu. Legalism, the school of famers, the school of vertical and horizontal, the dragons, and so on all had powerful ancestors who had walked out of the tomb of eternity. Any one of them was not something an ordinary saint could compare to. This time, Du Xiaofu had escaped from the hands of the demon god. He knew that he would not be so lucky the next time. However, this did not discourage Du Xiaofu. Back when he was in the Stone City, facing the legalism was like an ant facing an elephant. The situation was even worse than now. However, along the way, it was getting closer and closer. As long as I break through to the Saint Martial Realm and reach a higher level, my ability to protect myself will increase. Du Xiaofu muttered to himself. No matter how strong the devil god was, no matter how powerful the ancestors of legalism were, he would never become a fish on the chopping board. As long as he broke through to the Saint Martial Realm, he would be able to protect himself. As the Lord of the 3,000 boundless worlds had said, he would do his best and leave the rest to fate. The most important thing was to work hard to improve his cultivation. The outside world should think that I'm dead. Du Xiaofu was a little distracted. He thought of his family, Qi Yeshi, Su Muxin, Ouyang Shuang, Sima Muhan, and the others. The outside world probably thought that his soul had been destroyed. His family, Qi Yeshi, Ouyang Shuang, and his master must be immersed in grief now. I must break through to the Saint Martial realm as soon as possible. Du Xiaofu was determined. If the great calamity engulfed the 3 continents and Kyushu, he would not be able to protect his family if he was not strong enough. If he was not strong enough, he could only watch as they were engulfed in the calamity. Du Xiaofu did not want any of this to happen, and it could not happen. The outside world thought that he had been destroyed. Legalism, dragons, and the famed masters would no longer target the desolate country. He was the real master. Du Xiaofu estimated that the devil god and the devil emperor of the devil religion would need time to recover. Legalism, the famed masters, the dragons, and the other ancient mighty experts from the eternal tomb would also need time to recover. Even if they wanted to deal with the desolate country, they would not have the time to act immediately. Taking a step back, even if legalism and the others wanted to act immediately, Du Xiaofu was not sure about the attitudes of the Taoists, the school of agriculture, the Confucians, and other forces. However, there were also ancient mighty experts from the Golden Winged Rock clan and the Phoenix clan. With his relationship with Little Xingxing, the Golden Winged Rock clan would not stand idly by. Even if the Phoenix clan did not help, they would at least give face to Little Xingxing. As long as the people of the desolate country entered Mount Wutong to seek protection, it would not be a big problem. It's not enough. It's far from enough. I have to step into the holy martial arts realm as soon as possible. Du Xiaofu was no longer distracted. He immersed himself in meditation and entered a mysterious state of enlightenment. The Saint Plane is transcendence, it is flawless. There was no longer any emotion on his resolute and pale face. Du Xiaofu was no stranger to this path of enlightenment. He had almost succeeded the last time. Night. Tonight, the stars were bright and the moon was dim. The valley was dark and gloomy. It was so dark that even the moonlight could not dilute it. Between the continuous peaks and the overlapping rocks, there was a courtyard shrouded in darkness. It fluctuated with a terrifying aura. In front of the courtyard, a figure with a hood covering his head and a cloak was sitting cross-legged. He breathed in and out, and from the surface of his body, there was a thick blood aura fluctuating. In front of the courtyard, there were dozens of corpses. They were all shriveled up, as if their blood essence and souls had been sucked out, leaving only shriveled corpses. From the looks of the corpses, they seemed to have been of high cultivation when they were alive. There were also a lot of white bones scattered around. In this dark night, there was a gloomy aura. Whoosh! As the mysterious person in the hood breathed in and out, there was a moonlight falling from the sky, breaking through the night clouds that the moonlight could not dilute. The moonlight was connected to the figure in the hood, as if it was tempering his body. Under the influence of the blood aura in his body, the moonlight had a tinge of red. Whoosh! There was a fluctuation in the space, and a figure quietly landed. The person who came was also dressed in a hood. His figure was slender, and under the moonlight, there was a long shadow. The face covered by the hood revealed a pair of gray eyes that glowed with a terrifying light. Whoosh! With the arrival of this person, the figure sitting cross-legged stopped his breathing and inhaled a mouthful of moonlight into his mouth. The aura on his body was withdrawn, and his eyes opened, shining with a terrifying light. These 2 mysterious figures caused the surrounding space to freeze for no reason, and it was immersed in a strange silence. If there were experts here at this moment, it would not be difficult for them to recognize that these 2 mysterious figures had appeared in the space of the divine domain and recently in the heavenly devil battlefield. These 2 mysterious people had even appeared in the eternal tomb. Back in the space of the divine domain, these 2 people had also entered the supreme tomb. These 2 people were very mysterious. It seemed that no one had seen them fight, but the aura on their bodies made ordinary experts tremble for no reason, and they were not willing to provoke them at all. Have they come? The figure sitting cross-legged slowly got up, and the terrifying light in his eyes did not disappear. Instead, it became more and more terrifying. I've heard some news. Those ancient experts have not appeared. They must be recovering. Yes. As the person spoke, he took off his hood, revealing a rather young face. He looked to be about 30 years old, and his bearing was extraordinary, but it was already very sinister. At this moment, if Zhu Shui, Guoming, and the others were here, they would definitely be shocked to the extreme. This person was none other than Xin Yan, who had disappeared for a long time from the profound talisman sect. It was rumored that he had died, but they did not expect him to appear here. What about Du Xiaofu? Is he really dead? Yes. Shen Yan's voice was faint when he heard this. He took off his hood, and his golden hair fluttered in the wind. When he raised his head slightly, his handsome face was slightly pale, but it still revealed a valiant aura. There was still a strange and gorgeous charm in the depths of his terrifying eyes. If Du Xiaofu was here at this moment, he would definitely be stunned. This person was none other than Dongli Qihuang from the Great Luan sect. Dongli Qihuang was dead, and no one doubted it. However, Dongli Qihuang was still alive, and he had been hiding. He had appeared in the Supreme Tomb and Eternal Tomb, and no one had recognized him. This time, his soul has been destroyed. We saw it with our own eyes. Yes. Shen Yan laughed coldly and gloomily, and his sinister voice echoed in the valley. What a pity, what a pity. He should have died at my hands. Dongli Qihuang looked at Shen Yan, and his eyes shone with a frightening light in the night sky. His fingers curled slightly, forming a claw that distorted space and caused cracks to appear. Du Xiaofu isn't easy to deal with. It's good that he's dead. Shen Yan raised his head to look at the night sky, and a cold light shone in his eyes. The great calamity is coming, and this is our chance. The 3 continents, Kyushu, the 9 great clans, the phoenixes, and the dragons will be powerless to protect themselves. Once we emerge, we will definitely shock the world. All of this won't take too long. We've endured for so long, and finally, the best opportunity has arrived. I want to kill that bastard Du Xiaofu with my own hands, and I want him to know that I, Dongli Qihuang, am still alive. Dongli Qihuang's face was gloomy, and a cold light shone in his eyes. Baleful aura rippled from his body, causing winds and clouds to surge in the valley. Dark clouds covered the moon, as if a peerless demon had emerged. The 3 continents, Kyushu, the Beast region, and the Yao realm. Time passed slowly. Everyone was still in a state of panic. The great calamity loomed over all of them. All sorts of disputes began to erupt in Kyushu. Everyone was fighting over resources, wanting to have more power to protect themselves before the great calamity arrived. The large sects and clans held back their troops, as if they had sunk into silence. This caused the disputes to become even more intense. In the blink of an eye, the 3 continents, Kyushu, were already embroiled in endless battles before the great calamity had even arrived. Their disputes were endless, and they gradually descended into chaos. Chapter 2157. Within the barren country, there was the World Society. There were no other forces in the surroundings that could compete with the barren country. Hence, it was rather peaceful. Far away from the stone city, there were millions of mountains. That was where the desolate country's demonic beast army was stationed. With the ghost chariot, the silver-winged demonic condor, the stone turtle king, the space-rending demonic blade falcon, the violent bear king, and the phantom tiger king as their leaders, apart from the 9 great clans, the desolate country's demonic beast army already possessed the strength to sweep through the 3 continents and Kyushu. Their ferocious reputation spread far and wide, and few people dared to provoke them. Beside the million great mountains, there was a huge boulder on the tallest mountain peak. On it, the word execution was emitting a golden light, flickering brilliantly. This huge rock was originally a huge rock in front of the mysterious underworld sect. After Du Xiaofu wreaked havoc in the mysterious underworld sect, he removed it and placed it here. Every time someone crossed the 8,000 miles long Central Province River, they would be able to see the towering boulder from afar. There was no one who would not be able to sense the meaning of the word punish on the boulder. That was a warning from the Demon King, Du Xiaofu. Those who offend the desolate nation's world meeting will be killed no matter how far away they are. And now, the Demon King Du Xiaofu had really fallen at the hands of the demon god. His soul had been destroyed. Countless Saint Realm experts had witnessed this with their own eyes. They couldn't help but sigh inwardly when they saw this huge rock. However, no one dared to provoke the desolate country. The demon king Du Xiaofu had died. Not to mention the golden-winged rock clan behind the desolate country, the purple star demonic dragon emperor, the red-bone horse monkey Du Xiaoyao, the thunderbolt war king Du Tingxian, Dongfang Qing Mu, the nether demon and other terrifying sovereigns were enough to make the 9 great clans, dragons and phoenixes not dare to provoke them. 8,000 miles of the central prefecture long river, the water surface was vast and boundless, and the smell of blood and saltiness floated in the air. Just like in the past, this vast expanse of water lay across the land, and it was extremely vast. It was like a line between the sea and the sky, and it caused others to feel tiny for no reason. As the desolate country grew stronger, the 8,000 miles of Central Province Long River became exceptionally prosperous. The ferry port had already expanded to the size of a small city. There was an endless stream of people and the hustle and bustle of the city. Something's not right in the middle, back off. It's very dangerous. All the demonic beasts are abnormal. Something big might happen. However, for some unknown reason, all the merchant ships were docked at the docks of the water ferries, not daring to set sail. Walala, oh, from afar, there were waves of water surging over. The waves were linked together, and it was extremely abnormal. Accompanied by the continuous cries of demonic beasts, it spread out from the center of the water, causing people's hearts to tremble for no reason. Something big is going to happen. Nothing like this has ever happened before. On a huge reef, a middle-aged man was looking at the center of the water. His eyes were deep and smiling, and his yellow face had a serious expression. He was Zhou Tianyang of the Long River Escort Agency. At this moment, the Long River Escort Agency was already a huge force. Everyone knew that there were many forces of various sizes on the 8,000 miles of Central Province Long River, but the one that truly controlled the vast Central Province Long River was definitely the Long River Escort Agency. The reason was that Zhou Tianyang of the Long River Escort Agency had an extraordinary relationship with the Rock Emperor. Now, the desolate country's Stone Turtle King, Mysterious Dragon King, and a few other terrifying experts could be said to have a say in this matter. The Mysterious Dragon King and a few others have already given the order to seal off the river. No one is allowed to come close. Surround and kill without mercy. Zhou Tianyang said. Over the years, with the provision of many cultivation resources, his cultivation had improved by quite a bit. Awo, walala, the demonic beasts roared. On the vast water body, waves rose and fell. Some demonic beasts surfaced from the water, their bodies trembling for no reason, and they were terrified. In the depths of the water body, the demonic beasts gathered densely. They were all crawling on the water surface with fear in their eyes. Uneasiness surged from the depths of their bloodlines and beast souls. In the air, auras surged, and many figures stood horizontally. These figures were Gui Che, the silver-winged demonic condor, the mysterious dragon king, the stone turtle king, the flame carp king, the subduing tiger tyrant mastiff, the golden python, and others. A man in a crimson battle robe stared at the water in front of him. His crimson hair was like fire and blood, and he had an extraordinary temperament. On his handsome face, his crimson eyes were sharp and deep, giving people a sense of endless pressure. However, at this moment, there was a serious look on his face. In the depths of the water body, there was a huge whirlpool that was slowly fluctuating. It was as gentle as the wind blowing the clouds away, but it continued to sweep out endless waves. Accompanied by an invisible and terrifying aura, the beast souls of the desolate country's demonic beasts in the 8,000 miles of Central Province Long River, and even the millions of mountains, were trembling in fear. Something is wrong. I can't see it. Something big must have happened. The man in the crimson battle robe said. He was Gui Che, who had dared to fight with the descendant of the dragons, Dragon 9. He had improved tremendously over the years. However, at this moment, under the aura that spread out from the whirlpool, Gui Che had to resist it with all his might. He was secretly trembling. There was a pressure that came from the depths of his bloodline and beast soul, making him want to crawl down. Behind Gui Che, Phantom Tiger King, Little Ing Ing, Wild Bear King, and the others were also solemn. Their bodies were trembling. The pressure was too strong, and they could not resist it. Should we inform the Deputy Lord and the few country guardians? The silver-winged demonic condor said. His white robe was like silver, and he was extraordinarily handsome. His aura was the closest to Gui Che. The blood of an ancient supreme beast flowed in his body, and his eyes were awe-inspiring. However, at this moment, he could not get rid of the terrifying and invisible pressure. The Deputy Lord and the few country guardians in Stone City are all in seclusion. If we disturb them, it will be very serious. Don't alert them. This aura is somewhat familiar. Let's wait and see. Seal off all information. Gui Che said. The Deputy Lord and the others were in seclusion. It might be a critical moment. If they were disturbed, all their previous efforts would be wasted. Walala, a huge whirlpool rippled in the water. It was deep and boundless, and no one could approach it. No one could approach the depths of the whirlpool. There were faint runes flickering all the way to the depths of the water. Under the whirlpool, the runes that flickered constantly emitted light. In the depths was a vast underwater world. The reefs were continuous, like the luxuriant forests in the mountains outside. The corals flickered dreamily. Under the mysterious light, it was dazzling. As it went deeper, the light became more and more dazzling. It was like the sun rising from the east, and divine splendor rippled. At this moment, if there were any creatures that could enter, they would definitely be dumbfounded. In the depths of this underwater world, there was a cluster of light the size of a small mountain. It shone brightly and erupted with divine splendor. It was suffused with a fragrance that made people drool. The cluster of light spread out, accompanied by a kind of auspicious multicolored light. It was wrapped in mysterious runes. Walala! This underwater world seemed to have formed a space of its own. Above the cluster of light, within the flickering light, if one looked closely, there were purple flames, lightning, and starlight. There were also ink-black mysterious runes and seven-colored flames burning. In an unknown location, in a mysterious space, golden light rippled, and ripples spread out. A golden five-fingered mountain stood in the middle of this space. It was formed by 5 mountain peaks of different heights, each of which was the size of a palm. Walala! Around the mysterious mountain, mysterious runes manifested, morphed, and condensed. At times, they would turn into a mountain peak, and at other times, they would turn into a red-bone horse monkey. Dense spiritual energy emanated from it, and it looked extremely profound. Tianwu Academy stood tall once more. After all these years of development, Tianwu Academy had regained its vitality. Even though Vice School head Zhuge and the others couldn't be revived, and the countless elders and teachers who had sacrificed themselves couldn't return, Tianwu Academy had regained its vitality and was growing stronger and stronger. Chapter 2158. Translator, H2 to Mr. He won't die, he definitely won't die. Inside Tianwu Academy, in front of the tombstones of the countless ancestors who had fought in that destructive war, Gu Xinyan's eyes were filled with determination. Her red lips parted slightly as she said, "There are too many miracles around him. I believe that it will be the same this time." He was worried about Tianwu Academy and the desolate country. How could he bear to die? I also believe that he won't die. We will wait for his return. The general said. How are the others? Gu Xinyan looked at the tombstones as her red robe and hair fluttered in the wind. Those with decent talent and potential have already been arranged. Ghost Child, Wu Kei, Guo Xiaofeng, Tang Wu, and the others have all received the inheritance of the ancient ancestors of the academy. When they come out of seclusion, I wonder how strong they will be. The general smiled. This time, Tianwu Academy's harvest in the heavenly devil battlefield was extraordinary. Finally, before Du Xiaofu entered the eternal necropolis, he had left everything on the ancient battleship with the general. There were dozens of holy items, and all of them were holy items. The most valuable part of the ancient worship was not the dozens of saint weapons, but the inheritance of the ancestors of Tianwu Academy. That was the most shocking part. That was the huge foundation of Tianwu Academy. With that batch of ancient inheritances, Tianwu Academy would be able to regain its former glory in the future. Hearing the general's words, Gu Xinyan's eyebrows relaxed slightly. She looked in the direction of the stone city and her eyes flickered. She then calmed down and said, "The calamity is coming. I will also be in seclusion for a period of time. When that time comes, he might have already returned." The general looked at Gu Xinyan and then followed her gaze to the stone city. He stood with his hands behind his back and said, "If he returns, he will definitely not be calm." Time flowed like sand between one's fingers. In the blink of an eye, 3 months had passed. Voila! Du Xiaofu sat cross-legged on the mountain peak, maintaining the meditative posture of an old monk. At some point in time, a mysterious energy of the world seeped out from the void and slowly poured into his body. This aura was vast and hazy. When looked at from afar, it seemed as if Du Xiaofu's body was covered in a layer of divine light. It was transcendent and divine, and it gave others the feeling of being flawless, becoming more and more perfect. Walala, the holy aura grew thicker and thicker. In the end, the void around the mountain began to rumble, forming a strange phenomenon in the sky. Buzz, buzz, the mysterious energy of the world seemed to be attracted by something as it shuttled through Du Xiaofu's body, causing his body to emit the sound of wind and thunder. An invisible pressure spread in all directions. This pressure came from the heavens and the earth. If those Saint Realm cultivators were present at this moment, they would certainly be shocked. Du Xiaofu was clearly showing signs of breaking through to the Saint Realm. Boom! The surrounding void rumbled, and the strange phenomenon fluctuated. The holy aura on Du Xiaofu's body grew thicker and thicker. This aura came from the heavens and the earth, and it could temper the body and cleanse the soul. At this moment, Du Xiaofu's aura was approaching a new level. The light lingered, and the divine light fluctuated. Du Xiaofu was like a divine being that shocked the world, and he was flawless and unblemished. Walala! Du Xiaofu's aura soared rapidly. The strange phenomenon in the sky, with golden light flashing, purple flames whistling, and thunder and lightning intertwining. Voila! However, just as the holy aura on Du Xiaofu's body was about to reach its peak, the strange phenomenon suddenly disappeared. At the same time, the aura on Du Xiaofu's body that had reached its peak collapsed again, and it returned to its original calm state. After an hour, Du Xiaofu, who was sitting cross-legged, opened his eyes. His face was full of doubts, and his brows were slightly furrowed. Why did I fail again? Why? Du Xiaofu was puzzled, and his eyes were filled with confusion. He clearly felt that he was about to break through the bottleneck, and even felt the aura of the holy martial realm. That aura benefited from Flame's Park, so Du Xiaofu could clearly sense it. However, in the end, it seemed that there was an invisible hand that blocked everything. This time, it was different from the last time. Du Xiaofu only remembered that last time in the Eternal Tomb, he was in a state of enlightenment, and everything was moving towards the complete realm. Just as he was about to cross an invisible bottleneck, a terrifying force blocked everything, and he was unable to break through. That barrier seemed to be missing something, and in the end, it caused him to fail. Du Xiaofu also learned the reason from Flame's Park. The Lord of the 3,000 Great Worlds and the Dragon God had sealed the world, and the world's power of heaven and earth gathered into the Eternal Tomb to suppress the demon god's primordial spirit. From then on, the world's energy of heaven and earth had gradually dried up. A Saint Realm cultivator required a huge amount of energy of heaven and earth. The world's energy of heaven and earth was no longer able to support the energy consumption needed to break through to the Saint Realm. No one in this world could break through to the Saint Realm, and the original Saint Realm cultivators would also regress over the long years. If this continued, when the world's energy of heaven and earth was exhausted to a certain extent, the entire world would become a barren land. However, the demon god had already broken through the seal. This time, Du Xiaofu clearly felt that it was not because he was lacking something that caused him to fail. Instead, it was because of him that he was blocked by that invisible giant hand. I will break through sooner or later, at least I'm getting closer and closer. Since he had already failed and couldn't find the reason, Du Xiaofu pondered for a while, and his furrowed brows relaxed. Du Xiaofu didn't think about it anymore. At least this time, he was getting closer and closer. A while ago, in the Heavenly Devil battlefield, he had fought countless battles, and in the end, he even fought with a few Saint Realm cultivators. He had experienced many dangerous situations, and this time, his comprehension had turned into precipitation. Phew! After taking a deep breath, Du Xiaofu used his consciousness to inspect his body. He was surprised to find that the spirit gate in his body had actually expanded after the previous time, and the surging profound qi was like a boiling ocean. In the Niwen Palace in his mind, the primordial spirit of the red-bone horse monkey's primordial spirit fluctuated, and electric arcs filled the air. Everything was filled to the extreme, and it was even stronger than before. On his physical body, Du Xiaofu could feel waves of divine light rippling out from the surface of his body. Under the nourishment of the divine aura, not only his primordial spirit and spirit gate, but his entire physical body had also been refined once again. Every acupoint, every meridian, every tendon, and every bone in Du Yuanxing's body seemed to have been injected with life, and it was transforming towards a divine state. Du Xiaofu knew that all of this was due to the influence of the divine aura, which had brought him astonishing benefits, baptizing and nourishing him. Du Xiaofu even caught a glimpse of the divine aura attached to his flesh and bones. It was like a layer of transparent crystal on his flesh and bones. As his bones and flesh wriggled, his body emitted sonorous sounds of wind and thunder. If a top expert could see such a physical body at this moment, he would definitely exclaim in shock. A person who had yet to step into the Saint Realm actually had such a terrifying physical body. This kind of physical body, starting from the flesh and going all the way to the depths of the bones, was baptized without any impurities. From the outside to the inside, the physical body was sparkling and translucent, like divine bones. It was flawless and perfect. It was as if there was no trace of impurities, and it had broken away from the mortal body. It was difficult to find a real Saint Realm cultivator who could compare with this kind of physical body. Boom! Du Xiaofu's mind moved. Suddenly, several kinds of bright light gushed out from his body at the same time, and there were flashes of lightning and roars of thunder. A piece of starlight emerged and turned into a galaxy. A purple flame demonic phoenix appeared in the sky, and a golden-winged rock appeared. The light was dazzling as if it was alive. It opened its fierce and frightening eyes, and talismans intertwined. It opened its mouth and let out a cry that pierced the clouds and cracked the stones. A piece of purple thunder and lightning appeared in the sky. The purple thunder and lightning filled the talismans and mysterious runes, and turned into a substance with a murderous aura. There was also the grass of immortality and the dark seeker grass in front of Du Xiaofu. They released an astonishing aura and light, as if they could directly take root and sprout on the ground. Du Xiaofu's eyes rippled. He was very surprised. Although he had failed to break through to the Saint Realm this time, his comprehension of various ultimacies had improved tremendously. The ultimacies of thunder and lightning, the beasts of the golden-winged rock clan, and even the dark seeker grass and the grass of immortality had improved tremendously. They were very mysterious, and showed some unprecedented profundities. I seem to have improved a lot. Wow! Du Xiaofu whispered, feeling everything in his body and what he had comprehended. Although he had failed to break through to the Saint Realm again, and it seemed that he had not made any substantial progress, everything in his body seemed to prove that he had improved tremendously. Whether it was the ultimacies he had comprehended or his physical body, the invisible momentum and aura had all improved to a higher level. Du Xiaofu withdrew the ultimacies around him. He clenched his fists, and the space between his hands was directly distorted, revealing a pitch-black space crack. It was as if he could shatter the void between heaven and earth with a raise of his hand. My battle strength seems to have improved a lot too. Du Xiaofu's eyes rippled with golden light. He felt the surging power in his body. Although he had not broken through to the Saint Martial realm, his battle strength seemed to have improved by another level. Du Xiaofu had fought with Saint Martial realm experts many times. At this moment, he was measuring his current strength. He felt that if he met Qin Yanlong, Su Sanyan, Long Qianchao, and the others again, he should have the power to fight them head-on. Therefore, although he had failed again this time, there was definitely an unexpected gain. Du Xiaofu was not sure about his final battle strength, but at least if he met Su Sanyan, Qin Yanlong, and the others alone, he did not need to avoid them. Du Xiaofu opened his hands. His eyes moved slightly, and then he slowly closed them. His mind rippled. In front of the primordial spirit of the red-bone horse monkey in Du Xiaofu's mind, an ancient sword circled and emitted a brilliant light. Chapter 2159. This was the sword that Du Xiaofu had fused with earlier. It had been left behind by the master of the 3,000 worlds. Buzzing sounds of wind and thunder rang out from Du Xiaofu's mud-pill palace. Sharp sword qi permeated the air as a tremendous presence surged out. If it were not for the fact that Du Xiaofu had already fused with the sword qi, he would not have been able to resist the sharp sword qi even with his current cultivation. The Daluo sword formation. Du Xiaofu's essence soul red-bone horse monkey's body muttered. This was what he had learned from the sword's information. This sword was not ordinary, but a sword array known as Zenith Heaven. What surprised Du Xiaofu even more was that the Daluo sword formation was different from the purple-gold heavenly tower on him. It was a sword formation for the soul, requiring the soul to control and use it. It targeted the soul as well. Once the sword formation was unleashed, it could slash apart the soul in the mud-pill palace. It was extremely profound and varied. It was extremely sharp. Du Xiaofu did not know exactly what level the Daluo sword formation had reached. However, he could sense that even if he used his full strength right now, he would still be unable to push the Daluo sword formation to its limits. Du Xiaofu also struggled to determine the difference between the Daluo sword formation and the purple-gold heavenly tower on him. Although he was still unable to use the Daluo sword formation to its true might, the purple-gold heavenly tower could constantly devour artifact spirits to strengthen itself. Du Xiaofu smiled as he stared at the Daluo sword formation. The Daluo sword formation was even more powerful than the purple-gold heavenly tower on him right now. It also made up for the purple-gold heavenly tower's weakness. It could directly attack the soul of the opponent. If it could catch them off guard, it might be able to achieve unexpected results. Du Xiaofu pondered for a while on the mountain. He had failed to break through to the Saint Martial realm again. It was probably something that time could not resolve. Quite a lot of time had probably passed. The souls of the demon emperors had emerged, and the 9 demon emperors had already recovered to their peak. The ancient experts from the 9 clans had also emerged. Du Xiaofu was not too reassured by all of this. Let's leave this place first. After some thought, Du Xiaofu made up his mind. He wanted to leave this place as he was still worried about the desolate empire. Swish, swish, gazing around Du Xiaofu, and Du Xiaofu's hand was released the seal. Ancient inscriptions pulsed on his hand, flowing, and Du Xiaofu hand, that space. Is calm. Xiaofu. This independent space was left behind by the 3,000 boundless worlds, which isolated all the experts in the world from prying into it. Even the demon god could not detect it, but the master of the 3,000 boundless worlds deliberately left a trace, which did not stop Du Xiaofu. The outside world was barren and mottled with broken walls and ravines. This place was still inside the heavenly devil battlefield. Du Xiaofu walked forward. His purple robes fluttered slightly and his long black hair fluttered gently. His eyes appeared to be vast on his resolute and determined face as he stared into the distance for a moment. Following the secret change of his hand seal, a strange appearance appeared on his body. After which, within an extremely short period of time, his body and face underwent an enormous change. He had transformed into a majestic large man with a curly beard. His eyes had also become sharp and filled with a fierce aura. This change came from the inside out. It was the effect of the disguised divine technique. It was impossible to detect. Du Xiaofu thought that since he was already dead, many major powers would be able to calm down. He wanted to observe the situation outside first. If he were to reveal himself, it would definitely cause a huge commotion. If he were to reveal himself, it would be more convenient for him to hide in the shadows and observe the situation. Swish! Du Xiaofu rose into the air and used an ordinary aura to hide the aura of the golden-winged Great Peng and its wings. With Du Xiaofu's hidden aura, his speed was definitely not slow. Not long after, Du Xiaofu saw some creatures who were still searching for treasures in the heavenly devil battlefield. He secretly asked around and learned about the situation in the Sanlu Kyushu. It had been 3 months since the heavenly devil battlefield had appeared. Other than some chaos in the outside world, the demons had yet to appear. The 9 great families, the dragons, and the phoenixes had not made much movement. This made Du Xiaofu feel a little relieved. However, this relief made his heart even heavier. This calmness was like the calm before the storm. The calmer it was, the more violent the storm would be. The mountain peak was barren and mottled. The curly-bearded man looked in the direction of the desolate country. His eyes were calm, and then he leaped away. In a few flashes, he disappeared into the distance. The 8,000 miles of Central Province's river was completely sealed. Not long after, the howls and roars of demonic beasts could be heard from the depths of the waters. No creature dared to approach the 8,000 miles of Central Province's river. No one knew when it started, but countless demonic beasts in the millions of mountains began to crawl. A terrifying aura came from the depths of the 8,000 miles of Central Province's river. The bloodlines and souls of all beasts could not resist the pressure of the aura. They could only crawl. A burly man with a curly beard appeared beside the Central Prefecture's long river. He looked at the depths of the Central Prefecture's long river in surprise, but then a smile appeared on his face. Chi! In an instant, the curly-bearded man's figure disappeared. Walala! In the depths of the 8,000 miles of Central Province's river, the whirlpool continued to undulate. However, there were already various kinds of light fluctuations in the depths of the whirlpool. A strange fragrance permeated the air. It seemed to make people drool. It also made the blood of creatures boil. They were greatly affected for no reason. The aura of dragon saliva. This is the aura of dragon saliva. The Black Dragon King, the Stone Turtle King, and the others exclaimed. They had seen dragon saliva with the Rock Emperor in the Central Province's river. It was a treasure among treasures. Could dragon saliva have appeared in this place? The Stone Turtle King's eyes trembled. However, under the terrifying aura, his body trembled uncontrollably. He could no longer withstand it. There was an aura that came from the depths of his bloodline and beast soul that made him want to crawl. Back off even more. His scarlet battle robe fluttered. His scarlet eyes seemed to be overflowing with blood. He could not resist the aura. It came from the depths of his bloodline and beast soul. He was born to be suppressed. This aura was much stronger than the aura he felt when he met the descendants of the true dragon and phoenix. Compared to this, those with the true dragon and phoenix bloodlines in the world could not be compared. Walala, the whirlpool began to surge violently. A rich aura soared into the sky. The waves surged into the sky and spread into the distance. Suddenly, a ball of light the size of a small mountain surged out from the bottom of the water at the center of the vortex. It glistened brilliantly as divine radiance stretched out, and it was accompanied by an auspicious and peaceful glow. It was covered in talisman markings, and it was suffused with a fragrance that was dense to the point of causing others to drool. Chapter 2160. Rumble. When this ball of light appeared, the wind and clouds surged, and the sound of heavenly music was heard. Above the vault of heaven, there was suddenly a stretch of darkness. Only a ball of light emitted a resplendent light in the void. Purple flames, lightning, and starlight appeared, accompanied by a kind of ink-black talisman pattern and 7 colored flames burning. Boom! Boom! At this moment, a terrifying energy finally erupted from the ball of light. The ball of light was like a flower blooming, like a butterfly breaking out of a cocoon, and a strange dragon emerged from the ball of light. Roar! The dragon's roar resounded through the 9 heavens. The strange dragon grew with the wind, and a pair of wings that extended hundreds of feet were like the wings of a phoenix. Blazing 7-colored flames spread, and starlight flowed on the surface of its body. There was also the aura of a golden-winged rock and an incomparably terrifying aura that swept through the sky. Roar! The 8,000-li-long river of the central continent and the millions of mountains. At this moment, the souls of tens of thousands of demonic beasts were all trembling. They roared and hissed as their blood boiled. The strange dragon was in the sky, and above the sky, the sound of heavenly music was endless. A divine ring shrouded and filled with heavenly might, forming a golden pillar of energy that seemed to have transcended time and space, and enveloped the strange dragon within. The golden pillar of energy poured down from the sky, and heaven and earth energy overflowed in all directions, allowing the strange dragon to refine its physical body and dragon soul. It was suffused with light. The strange dragon raised its head and rushed into the sky. Its entire body was connected with the golden pillar of light, as if they had become one. Runes were densely packed and dazzling, as if a divine dragon was in the sky. Rumble! At the same time, thunderclouds gathered in the sky, and the sky was dark. Only the golden pillar of light and the strange dragon released an inextinguishable light. Not long after, the divine ring's light fell from the sky with the golden pillar of light, and directly surged into the strange dragon's forehead. In the next moment, a third terrifying and demonic eye opened on the strange dragon's forehead. The light rushed into the sky, and a terrifying dragon's aura swept out in all directions. At the same time, above the 8,000 miles of Central Province's river, starlight filled the void. A river of stars appeared, and purple flames fluctuated. All of this gathered together, and it was like thousands of creatures competing for glory, releasing an ancient and terrifying supreme aura. This aura was too strong. The heaven and earth energy in this area also began to ripple violently. Above the 8,000 miles of Central Province's river, in the millions of mountains, countless creatures felt their scalps explode, and their beast souls and primordial spirits trembled violently. Oh! The dragon soared into the sky, its 3 eyes appearing at the same time. It flapped its wings and drew in the 7-colored divine flames that filled the sky. The galaxy revolved, purple flames gushed out, and the dragon soared to the 9 heavens. Roar! 10,000 beasts roared and howled as they prostrated themselves on the ground. Rumble! At this moment, the heavens trembled violently and Central Continent's great river surged with giant waves. The beasts trembled and roared, prostrating themselves on the ground. The strange dragon spread its wings and surged into the sky. The energy of the 7-colored divine fire swept out and shook half the sky. A monstrous aura filled the air as if it wanted to tear apart the endless sky above its head. It's the Purple Dragon Emperor. It really is the Purple Dragon Emperor. Ghost Chariot, Silver-Winged Demon Condor, Mysterious Dragon King, Flame Carp King, and the others who had retreated to the Million Mountains were all trembling. Oh, even Ghost Chariot and the others could not resist the terrifying pressure that came from the depths of their bloodlines and beast souls. They turned into their true forms and prostrated themselves on the ground. In the void around the 8,000 miles Central Continent's great river, many illusory figures quietly appeared in the distant sky. The aura that quietly filled the air was so powerful that it made all living creatures tremble. This strange dragon has stepped into the Saint Beast realm. With such an indifferent and majestic voice, a towering and ferocious figure of a huge dragon reflected in the void. The dragon's eyes seemed to be swooping down from the heavens and could look down on all living things. This huge dragon's eyes were filled with killing intent. The dragon's eyes looked at the strange dragon's 3 eyes from the end of the void. It seemed to be deeply afraid and did not dare to do anything. Not far away, 7-colored light shone in the world. The space inside was scorching hot. A pair of 7-colored eyes were like stars descending, staring at the 8,000 miles central continent's great river. An old figure was in the sky. Endless ink-black runes swept out and turned into a rain of light that undulated above the void. On the boiling 8,000 miles central continent's great river, the figure of a curly-bearded man appeared on a large ship that was swaying in the huge waves. The curly-bearded man's eyes swept across the terrifying figures reflected in the void. In the end, he looked at the strange dragon with 3 eyes at the same time. A smile appeared on his face. The 3 eyes were closed tightly. The strange dragon's body shrank and turned into a little girl about 10 years old. On her tender face, there was a faint golden light in the depths of her demonic eyes. The girl was in the sky, looking at the powerful figure reflected in the void in the distance. In the end, her eyes intentionally or unintentionally passed by the curly-bearded figure on the ship that was swaying in the distant water without leaving a trace. Chi! The curly-bearded figure quietly disappeared from the ship. The little girl's demonic eyes looked at the figures reflected in the surroundings until those figures disappeared in the void. Her figure also disappeared above the void. The darkness on the 8,000 miles central continent's great river receded, and the terrifying pressures slowly disappeared. The ghost chariot, the silver-winged demon condor, the phantom tiger king, and the others withdrew their bodies and stood up. The joy in their eyes did not fade for a long time. Quickly go back and inform them that the purple dragon emperor has stepped into the Saint Beast realm. The ghost chariot said. His red eyes flickered with joy. In the depths of the vast mountains, there was a continuous forest. There was a mountain that pierced the sky. Looking up, the clouds were sometimes thick and sometimes light. Sometimes, it was like a waterfall falling down, and sometimes, it was like a wide river rushing forward. The peaks of the surrounding peaks were exposed above the clouds, lofty and majestic. A curly-bearded man had appeared at the foot of the mountain at an unknown time. He stood on the rock with his hands behind his back. He stood with his hands behind his back and slightly raised his head. He looked at the void as if he was thinking about something. Chi! The void rippled silently. A little girl appeared. Her clothes were decorated with star patterns. She looked at the curly-bearded man. The curly-bearded man turned around and looked at the little girl. His contemplative eyes showed a smile. A familiar smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. His voice was loud and deep as he said, "Saint Beast Realm. Father, I knew you would be fine." "I knew," the little girl smiled. Her small figure was like a bolt of lightning as she pounced at the curly-bearded man. She opened her arms and jumped up excitedly. This little girl, apart from little Xingxing who had become a saint beast not long ago, naturally could not be anyone else. Du Xiaofu had used a disguise technique, but he was connected to little Xingxing's essence blood. He could not hide from little Xingxing's prying eyes. Du Xiaofu smiled and opened his arms, hugging little Xingxing. After a while, little Xingxing carefully studied Du Xiaofu. He pouted and said, "Father, can you change into a better appearance next time? This is too ordinary." Du Xiaofu smiled and patted little Xingxing's head. He was very shocked inside. This little guy had only cultivated for a short while, and he had already become a saint beast. Comparisons were odious. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.